Welcome back to Late Night at the Movies on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. This is episode 64, and we are watching Watchmen.
There we go.
Welcome back, everybody. This is my episode, so I'm your host. I'm Julie. And I'm joined today by 2 out of 3 of our usual co-hosts. We have Max to my right and Nico down below. JT unfortunately could not make it today.
Or fortunately, depends how you look
Depends on who you ask. But he did watch the movie, and he sends his regrets for not being able to attend.
Yeah.
At least that's what I heard.
No, he keeps doing the homework. I mean, he ejected out of the last episode early, unfortunately. And I asked him for his thoughts on the film prior to recording, but he just wasn't able to get it together in time to send me anything. So he did rate it 3 stars on Letterboxd, though. So I know that Letterboxd kind of show as well, with the Late Night Letterboxd on the network here as well. So I figured there's some significance to the rating in that sense. So he, that's an okay rating. I mean, I
left something to say.
I left it blank because I want to be a man of mystery on this one.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need. There's no mystery to what my ranking might be. I picked it. I obviously like the movie.
In your top 4, is it not? Is this in your top 4? I think it is.
It's in my top 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna stay there. I was thinking about this after the watch, the most recent one, and I was like, I feel like there might be something more deserving for my top 4, but I haven't really settled on an answer for it yet, so I don't know. I'm gonna leave it as is for now, but I do still have. I do value this movie, and it resonates with a certain era in my mind. I think that's why it's got the nostalgia factor for me. So it's up there because that's with a lot of my entire top 4. They all have like particular significance to like an era that I'm like, yeah, this movie just hits like something about it. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I'm trying to remember the first time I saw this. I feel like it may have been a very similar situation to the V for Vendetta thing, where it was back in the day when everybody had the DirecTV boxes, whatever those were, Android boxes, Kodi boxes, whatever the fuck. And it might have just been one of those channels that played it all day, and I probably saw it 20 times, like one of those. But I also feel like I didn't see it then. I feel like I saw it. I feel like somebody saw it, like a friend of mine saw it in the theaters, probably was familiar with the source material just based on who he is, and saw it and told me that I should watch it, and then I probably bought it when I was working at Zellers. It feels like that was the scenario in which, speaking of the source material. Yeah. Bust out. Yeah.
Nice.
And I know for everybody that watched the last episode, I know I said I was going to read the source material, but I've had a very busy couple of weeks, and I forgot it before I went on a plane, or I would have had time to do it.
So you've never read it, Julie? Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
You definitely should take the time. Like, and honestly, I'm kind of glad you didn't and have to. I mean, obviously, it would have been nice if you had read it for this discussion because you have never read it before. Me and Max have.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, I just think take your time reading it. I wouldn't want you to have like rush.
Yeah.
To kind of because it's really a very dense read. There's a lot that's one of those books that I feel like every time you revisit it, you notice more things about it
100%.
and you learn more things about it. It's very layered and well done. So I think it's like, I think, and yeah, I mean, I'll just get this out of the way, not to kind of, interrupt your intro.
Go ahead.
The comic is far superior to the film, in my opinion, right? But purposely, I didn't read it for today just because I kind of wanted to just go in fresh with the movie. It's been much longer for me having watched this film than it was like having read the comic. So yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to mention that.
So yeah, I basically I read a bit of like the first chapter the other day just to kind of more so I was just trying to familiarize myself with the art style that is in the book and just kind of make a judgment call on how purely just on visuals, like how close did they kind of get to it, or did they try to do right by the art style in the source material? Was the color palette similar? I was just trying to get a feel for the art style particularly, but I didn't get into the meat and potatoes of the content itself. So I wouldn't say that I have a good handle on the source material at this point. However, I do pledge that I am going to read the source material. I bought it specifically because I knew eventually I was going to have this movie be a pick for the show, and I wanted to have the source material handy, and I was going to do it that way and have read it and then watch the movie and do a more in-depth discussion and a comparison, because that's what I did with V for Vendetta.
And by the way, since we also do cover comics on this YouTube channel, if you ever do get around to reading it, I would love to revisit it and have a discussion about the comic. If you want to do that still, sometimes we can totally do that. Like you can join us too. Yeah, we know Jay won't read it, but I mean, but since we also do cover comics here, I think that would be a great opportunity, and I would look forward to rereading it, honestly. So if you want to do that at some point when you have time, just let me know, and then we can schedule that, because I think it's worth a discussion. That book, there's a lot that I would think you'd get a lot more from that discussion too, that we may even there. That's the thing. There's so much in that book that isn't covered in this film. Honestly,
Right.
There's a lot more in the book, even so.
And maybe there was more to the ultimate cut or the whatever the middle ground was between the theatrical and the director's cut. It seems as though I'm aware of this huge segment, this pirate segment that's in the source material that is not in at least the theatrical release.
Well, there's a nod to it in I don't know if that's in the director's cut or the theatrical.
I think it's in the ultimate cut.
So there's a kid at a newsstand that's reading a comic book in this.
Oh, okay.
Tales of the Freighter,
Tales of the Black
Freighter. That's the pirate story, essentially.
There is some kind of animated segment in one of the cuts or in the special features or something.
The ultimate cut.
So that's the ultimate. Yeah. So but I believe that scene is in, I think, the actual theatrical. it's a nod to the pirate story.
Oh, sorry, this kind of there's some kind of planted reference to it.
Yeah, there's those scenes of the guy at the newsstand, essentially, that Rorschach goes to. Yep. There's a black kid that's sitting beside the newsstand that's reading a comic book. That's the pirate comic, essentially.
Okay.
In the actual comic, that's kind of how that opens up too, and then and then every issue you get a sampling of that comic book, which is supposed to add relevance to the meaning overall of the comic by the end of the comic. So it's actually, a lot of people famously, if they're rereading the book, they won't read that part because it's a bit of a slog in comparison to the rest. Yeah,
but it's so intercut into the story. It's hard to.
It is, and it is, and it isn't. I would say it does add over to the overall thing. But anyways, so it's interesting.
So that was doing the research for the movie was the first time I even became aware of the Black Freighter stuff as part of the story, part of the source material, I guess. So I have little tidbits and bits of knowledge here and there about that now, but that's mostly just from doing research. But anyway, to get to very rudimentary summary For people that haven't seen the movie, if you haven't seen the movie, what the fuck are you doing here watching us talk about it? But basically, it's a dystopian sci-fi superhero movie. Zack Snyder directed it. I think that's very obvious if you watch the movie. It's very Zack Snyder. It was released in 2009. It did win a bunch of awards and get nominated for a bunch of stuff with like the Saturn Awards, nothing with the Oscars or anything like that. But it did have a number of awards in the Saturn Awards that I was like, yeah, that all of the like set design, special effects, visual effects, costume design. It won like a bunch of awards that I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Like they did the work on those things. It's set in like an alternate universe in like 1985. And my other like kind of fun thought about it after the fact, watching it, I was like, it's basically the dark version of The Incredibles, if you think about it.
I never
like
really looked at it that way.
they outlawed the superheroes. They all kind of go into hiding.
Incredibles is more like the Fantastic Four, though. I feel like. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of Watchmen.
The family aspect.
Yeah.
Watchmen isn't a family. You know what I mean?
No, but
Like-
she's
No, that's what I mean. It's the dark version.
criminals.
Oh.
Like how the criminals become
because
outlaws.
they basically turn their back on the heroes they outlaw.
and
Yeah,
the government outlaws
absolutely,
them.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the characters themselves. No, you're right.
No. Like the setup for like how they come to be. You know, they're no longer their alter egos. They have to basically like go into hiding. There's the Keene Act, and they all are like outlawed except for one guy who continually exists in his hero form, and everybody knows he's out there. Nobody knows who he really is. Whatever. So that's kind of where I got to with the summary. As far as like what it means to me, I can't even really like. I can't put a finger on it. I just like it a lot. I don't know. It doesn't hold like any super significant thematic thing that really hits for me. It's just a badass fucking movie to me. It's just a fucking Zack Snyder movie that I love.
interesting to me that you feel this way. I'm really shocked just because.
Why?
Because you've never read the comic. Like that's
So maybe I'll love it even more.
I don't understand where she's coming from because she hasn't read it.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, not to say that
but it makes a lot of sense what she's saying.
It does. But there's, I mean, as we get into it though, there's certain things about this movie that I feel you wouldn't like. I definitely don't like, and I'm surprised that you like it. That's
because of your familiarity with the comic.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, not just that. No. Because I tried to look at this
objectively.
It's hard though. It is. But
yeah.
I tried to look at it objectively without, outside of the comic. Mm-hmm. There's things about this movie that I feel like you appreciate in films that this film does very badly at times.
Probably.
I'm surprised that you like this movie in that aspect. But you're right. You're all over the place in terms of like you're the hardest person to pin down in terms of your likes on this show. I feel like, and you continue to be. And
for sure.
And there's something in this movie that's just an atrocity for me, and I'm just like, wow, I don't know why you would.
I'm interested to know what it is. I'm sure, and I might even agree with you. It'll be like the last film where it was like there was some unforgivable.
For me.
Oh yes.
Medicine. Yeah.
I told Max, I will say this. We didn't really talk too much about the movie because we tried not to before we record. But when I saw Max today, I'm like, man, I must really love you guys and like doing this show because you got me to talk about 2 fucking Zack Snyder films back to back on this. It's like Zack Snyder one here, apparently. Yeah. This is crazy. This is our first theme on the show, too, by the way.
It is.
I wish it wasn't their first one.
That's so interesting. Holy shit.
So, no, just
of all people.
It's no secret. I'm not a huge fan of his, overall. I think, there's, like I said, I'm being very objective. Listen, guys.
What's your favorite Snyder movie?
We're on the balcony. It's nice. I'm having a beer with my friends. I'm talking movies.
Summer.
This weekend, there's a new video game, movie, and album coming out that I'm looking forward to.
What's out?
the new Clips album comes out this Friday. Their remaster of Tony Hawk 3 and 4 comes out for PS5, and Man of Steel comes out. Sorry, not Man of Steel.
Superman.
Forget that. Superman.
It's a great
James
time to
Gunn.
be alive.
It's a great time to be alive. It's like I'm back in the 2000s all of a sudden.
Hell yeah.
Watching a Superman movie,
awesome.
listen to a Clips album. It's great. So like, I'm just saying, I'm in a good mood.
Some cocaine.
I'm in a good mood, so I'm just gonna put that out there. So I'm gonna be try to be kind with some of my words here today.
We're gonna get into. I have no holds barred. Say what you need to say.
I know.
Yeah.
I think so. Here's the thing that I'll say about Zack Snyder. Hold on, let me do my due diligence here, and pull up his actual filmography so I don't misspeak on his stuff. Hold on a second.
What's your favorite Snyder movie, Nico?
Yeah, sorry, you had asked me that.
I'm just curious
earlier.
because you say you don't like his stuff. I'm just curious.
I haven't seen it. I feel like I've only seen it once. I remember back in the day, I liked Sucker Punch the first time. I watched it.
You mentioned that last time.
I like Sucker Punch.
I've never seen. He did Day of the Dead or something, didn't he?
Dawn of the
Dead
like
remake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
James Gunn apparently wrote the script for that. I've never seen it. I've heard it's really good.
Interesting.
I haven't seen that. 300. I don't care really for. This is okay. Man of Steel's okay. Yeah, I don't know. You know what?
It's probably Sucker Punch, right?
It's funny to say that. No, I've only seen that once. I mean, I remember liking it, but I don't know. I don't know what my favorite James Gunn thing is, to be honest.
Snyder.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
What did I say?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. Probably, to be honest, the Justice League Snyder cut.
That's probably my favorite.
I was pretty impressed by it when I watched it, to be honest, because I thought so badly about the other one. When I watched his version of it, I was like, you know what? This is one of those times where they whine for like years to bring out the cut. And I was like, when it finally came out, I was like, this is a much superior film.
I love that film.
I mean, yeah, like everything of his is like 4 hours or whatever.
Yeah. I know. I love that film.
It is better. Yeah. That's probably my favorite.
I think that among his stuff, what's interesting too is he directed the music video for that My Chemical Romance song we just played. So that makes a lot of sense.
And and the frontman of My Chemical Romance there is also
huge nerd.
Well, he's worked for DC. He's written a bunch of comics for them.
Oh, perfect.
Gerard Way also wrote the Umbrella Academy.
Wait. Is that the song that plays in the opening credits?
It's at the end credits.
Oh, it's the end.
Oh,
sorry.
the end credits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Gerard Way, comic book nerd, used to be an artist, has written multiple comics, has written a comic book that is his own TV show, multiple seasons, Umbrella Academy, which is a rip off of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol. So,
okay.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Of the Zack Snyder stuff, I'm only I've seen Man of Steel now, but I'm only super familiar with 300, Watchmen, and Sucker Punch. And it's a hard pick for me to pick between 300 and Watchmen.
Oh wow. Okay, cool.
I think I slightly favor Watchmen over 300, but not by much.
I probably would too.
Yeah.
I really like 300. It would be a hard pick.
That is what I think brought him his fame, basically. Like that's
300, yeah.
Well, again, it's a comic adaptation.
Yeah.
300 is a Frank Miller book. This is an Alan Moore book. Like he adapted big popular books by big creators, right? Like, yeah. So it's not like it was like majority of all his films are comic book movies.
Yeah, that's
if you look.
I think that's why I like his style. Because here's a JT answer, okay? Sometimes I don't have the fucking patience or the attention span to read the comic book.
Sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially one like this. It's quite long. It's quite, it's a healthy size.
It's dense, yeah.
It's dense. So, whereas even though you are both familiar with the source material and you might find the film to be a poor adaptation, I think, to me, without having the source material, so I speak from a place of ignorance, that it has the spirit of the same vibe to me, that it is like a comic book movie to me, which is thematically something that I am drawn towards. So, I like the stylist, same thing with, Sin City, and,
Sin City, yeah, I love Sin City.
Yeah. Stuff like that, movies like that really resonate with me because it's got the comic book style to it.
Well, that movie in particular is that book come to life. Like,
Oh yeah,
I think he did an excellent job of it.
fantastic example of what.
That's Robert Rodriguez who did that.
Yeah,
I feel he's a much better filmmaker than Zack Snyder personally.
sure.
Robert's the man, though. I love Robert.
Yeah, so but yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say that you shouldn't like this. No, I get why. But even liking it without having read the comic, I feel there's some issues I would take with this. Maybe not. Maybe.
So go ahead, Nico. What do you?
No, she's still doing her
sorry.
intro. Yeah,
That's mostly it. It's like I'm just kind of explaining like why, like I'm trying to articulate why I feel connected to it, why I picked it, why I'm drawn to it. But it's hard for me to like. I just liked it. I saw it. I liked it.
And edgy though. You like dark and edgy stuff from
I
this period.
fucking do I ever?
Let's see your picks. You
that's
picked
a
The
good
Crow on this show. You picked that. No, honestly.
How many times do I have to tell you that I am spirit-wise big titty goth girlfriend? Of course I'm gonna pick the goth movies.
Edgelord type fucking movies that you pick, and then Zack Snyder, like that is his staple. So the fact that you haven't really, to be honest, like that's like a lot of people's criticism about some of this stuff, right?
Mm.
It's funny because I
Too
recently
edgy?
shared that clip where I like that they're able to joke around about this stuff, and
Rick
like,
and Morty.
yeah, the Rick and Morty clip with him and James Gunn, and they realize obviously how the critics kind of like perceive them, because I really like that he was able to make that joke about the slow-mo shit, because when I watched this movie this time around, I'm like, oh, there's the slow-mo.
There it is. Yeah.
the first scene with the comedian of him throwing the coffee cup. I was get the fuck out of here.
They love that shit.
But anyways, yeah, okay. If we're getting into it, my history with this is I seen it back in the day. You know what? To be fair, I may not have read the comic when I first watched the movie, though. It's very possible I hadn't, because I was out of comics. I feel like when did this come out?
2009.
2009.
Okay, so 2010. So it would have been 16 years ago. So you know what? I think it was right before I got back into comics, probably like in my mid-20s when I got back into comics. So I probably watched this before I got back into comics, and at that time I hadn't read Watchmen. But then when I got back into comics, it was like one of the first things I ended up reading, because everyone talks about how good the comic is. So I probably watched the movie, honestly, and I probably haven't revisited it that many times since then. I maybe have seen it one other time. So I own it, and I think we're talking about the theatrical release here today more so. I
knew that we would not get JT to watch the ultimate cut, so I figured, and that was the one I was familiar with anyway. So I was like, let's go easy on him.
Well, truth be told, I tried to compare the differences, but I actually did watch the director's cut because it was just easier for me to access when I went to watch it. Yeah. But it's like about 20 minutes longer than this, and it's really just a few more extended scenes that add up to that runtime, and like small things. So I tried to look over some of the comparisons. So if there's something I say, or if we get into scenes or whatever, you feel like it wasn't in this version, feel free to call it out. But I tried to do my due diligence when it came to that. I don't love this movie, if I'm being honest, right out the gate. I know we're going to get into likes and dislikes, but I think since the time I've read the book now, it is hard to be objective without comparing the two. But
of course,
I went into this with not having read the comic in a while. And here's the thing. It's like a Herculean feat that he took on in order to adapt this.
Yeah.
It is, honestly, I don't slight him for this, because it's so hard, even with the ultimate cut or however long that is, 3-something hours, to really fit that story into a film. Like, and especially a theatrical one, which was just like 2.5 hours or whatever it was. There's so much stuff in that comic that the comic covers that this, like, that whole intro scene, for example, there's so much things they show you in that intro scene that they kind of get into in the comic that they just gloss over in the first opening credits of the film, right? They don't even feel like they talk about the Minutemen that much in this. And the Minutemen are the team that are basically the older version of the Watchmen, which are, we see some of the old ones in here, the old Night Owl, the old Silk Spectre, but I don't really feel like they really properly talk about them in this all too much, right? Like,
right.
It's just,
we don't know like a huge amount about them aside from Silk Spectre and a little bit about Night Owl 1. And like that the comedian is part of both.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. They're basically like the GSA to the Justice League,
right?
The older legacy team, essentially, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, my first experience, I probably seen this in theaters. And I probably thought it was a lot better when I first originally saw this. But running this back, though, even outside of comparing it to the comic, there's some bad stuff I feel like people attribute to Zack Snyder that are on full fucking display in this. Like, we talked about Kill Bill being like the most Quentin Tarantino movie. This is like one of like the most Zack Snyder of this era Snyder films, in my opinion. From the slow-mo and everything else, right? And the violence. Like, there's some hyper fucking violent shit in this movie, right? Which, you know, under the right circumstance, I'm not against, but I felt like some of it just wasn't well done, in my opinion. But anyways, we'll get into likes, dislikes. But I just want to put that out there that I did watch this originally. I've watched it 2 or 3 times. That's my history with it. And since then, I've really loved the comic book, very, very much so, like many people that have read it. But I'll try to be objective about just talking about the film past this conversation here. So
fair.
Yeah. Max?
Oh boy. So so I do remember a time when I very vividly remember when this movie came out, but I didn't see it then. But I remember because, you know, it was like a conversation at school. You know, I was like, I don't know, like in the 8th grade or something when this movie came out. Our classmates were talking about it, and I think people were calling it, like, people were comparing it to like the X-Men or something. So I don't know anything about Watchmen or comic books at this time. It comes out. I remember my cousin really liking it. I remember him describing like the action of it that he really liked about it. I think the scene when like the person like breaks someone's arm or some shit in the street fight. I think he was like pointing that scene. It's like, oh man, it's so awesome. So that's what I remember from like his little like.
Which at that time I could see.
I guess it's a movie that it's very of its time. I guess like this is so like around the time when people were like into this kind of stuff. So I didn't know anything about Watchmen. I don't know anything. All right. So and then 1 year goes by. This is 2010 now, and I get a library card. Because I was starting to read like books and stuff more. I was starting to read into like Stephen King novels and stuff. But I also was like trying to get into comic books. Like this is when I was like, and the library is like a perfect place to get this stuff for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Watchmen. I was like, oh yeah, that movie came out a year ago. Let me read this book, and then I'll probably watch the movie, whatever, afterwards. But it's so funny is that the attraction to me reading Watchmen was because it was a limited series. It's only 12 issues.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always found very intimidating about getting into comic books is that these characters have such long histories, like Superman or the Flash or whatever. It's like if you get any random story, you feel like you're like in the middle of a story kind of thing. It's like hard to. So the attraction to me reading Watchmen was that, oh, this is only 12 issues. It's a beginning, middle, and end. I don't have to like do any additional searching for anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like 13, 14 years old when I'm starting to read Watchmen, and I don't understand any of it really. Like I understand like surface level shit about it, but it was a very, very hard story to like grasp my head around. And I think a big reason why is because you have to kind of know like a little bit about history, I think, to appreciate this. Like for example, like I'm 14 years old. I don't know that Richard Nixon isn't supposed to be the president in the 80s, and then why is he the president, right? And I didn't even know that. Like that aspect of the story totally just went over my head. I don't really know about the Cold War, right? Like I don't know any about this stuff. I don't know the conflict between the US and Russia and stuff, and that's like a major theme of the story.
When I was that age when I first saw it, I felt the same. It was like I don't know that any of that is alternate universe, alternate reality.
I'm reading like a superhero story, and that's like wow. And the funny thing is like this is like the ultimate anti-superhero story. I guess it's like the it's the deconstruction. I guess
absolutely, and it was done in '87. Like it was done at a time where comics changed as well. This and Dark Knight Returns and other comics, where they were using very mature and of the time kind of topics that they were bringing into comics. This is a total response to the reactionary response to post Cold War and like how I
don't even know what the Cold War is.
Right.
Like I don't know any of like the setting in which the story takes place. I'm not familiar with. Like this is because the setting takes place in the same time that the book came out, the 80s, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about the political climate of the 80s, which I feel like is a really important thing to understand.
Absolutely. Because you got to understand where Alan Moore's mind was at when he was writing this. It's a very pessimistic view on the
I don't know
world and on
anything.
humanity.
I know of
it's
them.
still relevant to today.
Absolutely.
It's still
No, it
fucking
is.
relevant.
It is. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
And
The
I don't
whole 51st fucking state bit in the movie, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck?
yeah.
yeah. Like I don't know about the Vietnam War. Like I don't know that that was a war that Americans, like I guess, technically lost, right? Like I don't know, like
they
in
had to
real
pull
life,
out,
in the real,
essentially. They lost more people
in the
than
real
they-
history. Like that's not a war that they won or anything. So I don't really know this, but I'm reading the story and I'm going, oh, I don't understand the alternate history take, I guess, is what's going on.
Right.
So I read it and I was like, okay, that was cool. I probably should have been reading, like at that age, I probably should have been reading like Green Lantern, Jeff Johns or something. I feel like what I was probably more like trying to get was like a superhero story with a lot of action. That's probably what I should have been reading, not this. I feel like that was like, but I'm happy I read it because a couple years goes by, maybe 3 years passes, and I read it again. And I didn't end up watching the movie, but I read Watchmen again, and I'm a bit older. I'm like 18 years old, and I liked it a lot more. And it's like that's so what Nico's saying is 100% true. Like this is a story. If you do end up reading the book, you'll probably have to read it a couple times. And I didn't read this book after that. I read it in 2013. I didn't read it again until 2022. And you know what's just crazy? When I was in Azerbaijan for a year, and you know what's crazy? I'm reading that story, and now all of it is making sense.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is, if you guys remember, in 2022, that was the year that Russia invaded Ukraine. And so that was like a huge thing about like, oh, are we on the brink of World War III again?
Mm-hmm.
And it literally made me, I was like, wow, this story is written in the 80s,
Right.
and it's just
Still
as relevant today.
Yeah, yeah.
And every day I feel like it gets more and more relevant. And I think personally, for my money, this is the best. I haven't read as many as you, of course, but this is the best story I've ever read in a comic format.
Oh,
Like,
this is what many people consider the pedigree of like the.
a lot of people have said this is like the pinnacle, and maybe that's like not a good thing to say because there's a lot of great stories out there. But
and Alan Moore famously doesn't even acknowledge this movie. His claims to have never seen it. Does not like want any association with this.
You know what's so interesting? I watched some interviews of him on the internet. He's a
fickle kind of
but he has a very fascinating perspective because the thing we was talking about Watchmen is
these aren't original characters either though. Right?
No, they are.
They're based on Charlton characters that he
wanted to use those characters, but they wouldn't let him because
he
would be
modernize them and kind of made them.
I guess
Blue Beetle, the original Blue Beetle's Night Owl, essentially. Like there's Rorschach is Rorschach is based on a character called the Question. Like he basically took all
Steve
these
Ditko character.
Yeah, he took all these characters from like the 50s and basically put a spin on them to kind of fit them into this story, modernize them, and make them more hardcore, dark versions essentially of those characters, essentially, right, to kind of fit this story. So like while these characters are original, they're actually based off of other characters that he basically just changed, right? So it's interesting in that aspect,
but I remember watching an interview with him where like his perspective when he was writing Watchmen and also a lot of his other stories is he was trying to show off the possibilities like of storytelling that could only be achieved through the comic book medium. He wanted to show off the comic book medium, so that's why he was against the transfer of comic book to movies and stuff like that. And I saw this really interesting interview where he said, a comic book creator that understands cinematic techniques will probably be a better writer, like a better comic creator than a creator that doesn't understand cinema. But you should be careful about comparing comics and movies because if the relationship becomes so like strong, all comic books will ever be is movies that don't move or whatever, like movies without
pictures
sound.
And
it's like the thing is like what Alan Moore is like he's like to me one of the greatest writers, to a lot of people the greatest writers, and because he really showcased the potential that this is a story that can only be told in this medium, and I felt very moved by that. And so Julie has a very awesome list on Letterboxd. You should go check it out. What is the name of that list, Julie, that you have that we always reference?
The one that everyone is always appalled, and offended by.
Appalled and offended. And I've been toying like in my mind even before I had a Letterboxd of creating a movie list. Movies I vow I will never watch. And Watchmen is probably number one on that list. Like, because I was so strongly attached to this source material, and I was so like moved by Alan Moore's like perspective on it. And I was like, yes, like, and I overall I felt that way too. Like, I feel like the adaptation from one medium to another, it's a lot of times it doesn't make sense, and like it happens with comic books. It happens with video games. They don't work out. Like, that's the reason why I have no interest in watching that Last of Us TV show. Because
I feel like very rarely is it achieved that the source material is not the thing that they adapt is better than the source material.
It rarely is.
Rarely,
Yeah.
but sometimes I would
I would
argue it is.
You know what the thing is? You know what's crazy too? I met there was a guy I used to work with, and Julie, you probably know him too. I don't want to say his name, but maybe off screen I'll tell you. But he was telling me that he started reading The Godfather, the books by Mario Puzo, like the original books, and he was just like, "Oh my God, these are the greatest stories and stuff like that, and this is like the greatest book I've ever read." And it's crazy to think that, you know, The Godfather is seen as like one of the greatest movies ever made, but there's a chance that even that pales in comparison to the actual source material. It's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, just don't assume just because it's a great movie that it makes it superior to the source material. Like, it doesn't happen often that it's better.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of people have called Watchmen like unfilmable. Like, I heard that's a word it's just unfilmable. And I think I agree, honestly. I think I agree, and we'll get into it when we get into likes and dislikes. So, but for this episode, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie. I feel like I've not really done my proper homework for this one. As far as I only ended up watching the movie once, which is not fair. I feel like I should. I now watch the director's cut because I wanted to get the cut that I think everyone says they prefer on Reddit or something like that.
That makes sense.
I went for that one. I didn't want there to be any excuses, but I feel like I didn't really give this movie the proper time because I didn't love Watchmen the first time I read it, but I did on further reads. Watching this movie, I'm not really a fan of it, but it probably deserved a second watch. Probably, maybe in the future, I might check out the ultimate cut, maybe like, you know, as a compensation for that. So I just want to say, like,
you're a fan of Snyder's long cuts. Maybe you'd like that one.
Yeah, maybe. And you know what's? I guess I'll just say this too, if you guys don't mind. This movie made me really, really it put a lot of things in perspective when when we were talking about Man of Steel. People say like because remember we were having that conversation about people have sacred cows when it comes to comic books and the Superman and stuff like that. And yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from now, because that's, I guess, how I feel about this source material now.
Right.
I think with Superman, though, it's a little bit different and Man of Steel is a bit different because Superman has had like a 70-year history, and it was created by, I think there were Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Yeah. So then you've had like a zillion interpretations since, like Grant Morrison and John Byrne and all these other writers who have essentially this is not their creation, but they've added to the mythology or whatever. And so with a Superman, I think it's not as sacred because there's been so many different takes on it. And I think Man of Steel, I'm not too sure what storyline that's based on specifically in the comic books.
It's just an amalgamation of a bunch of
I guess, yeah. I guess something original.
I don't think there's like a story it's directly based off, because the script was written by somebody for that who also has written comics.
David Goyer, you're talking about?
Yeah. But it's just an amalgamation of a bunch of
I will say though, watching Man of Steel though, we were talking about most Zack Snyder movies. That is the least Zack Snyder movie, because I don't think there's a frame of slow motion in that movie at all.
This is more Zack Snyder.
Yeah, like that is like he was really mimicking. I know I've said this a zillion times on that last episode. He was really mimicking Nolan. He wasn't going full Snyder. This is like this is a spoonful of Snyder. Like this is like the whole thing, the whole shebang of like Snyder style that Man of Steel doesn't have at all.
I would not say it doesn't have it at all.
Maybe the dark suit. Maybe
calm down over there.
No, but it's it is like so much more. Snyder.
I'm not gonna sit here and have you shit on this and not talk shit about Man of Steel.
No. Man of Steel, I do prefer over, but it did take me a while to turn on Man of Steel too. So like it's like I'm saying, it's not a fair perspective. I feel like I feel like I'm like halfway there.
No, you can prefer Man of Steel over this. I'm just saying, don't say that it's perfect.
No, but Matt, what, don't say it's not what?
I'm just saying the way you're making it sound is like it's far superior to
It
this.
is far from serious.
I
Yes,
would
it is.
disagree. I would disagree.
100% is, and I'll get into it more when we do likes and dislikes. But go ahead, guys.
I guess like, okay, how do I have nothing to combat anything either of you said as far as like liking and disliking so far. Because I'm coming again from a place of ignorance. I don't have the source material.
Ignorance. No, don't say that. Don't discount yourself.
I'm ignorant of the source material, so I don't have this comparative mindset to go off of.
Well, you probably have a more pure version of the movie, a pure vision of the movie too, because you're not like being bothered by that.
In a way, but I do think
like dirty hang-ups like we do, like
to skip ahead a little bit, just because like this thing I was going to say later on in the legacy section it doesn't speak to the legacy of the movie, but it kind of does speak to the legacy of it for me personally, is that I think that the purpose it served here was that even though I wasn't familiar with the comic, and that is sort of the backwards ass way of doing this, is that what this has done, what I like about this and what it's done is that it inspired me to seek out the source material.
Yeah.
So it kind of led me in the direction of like the purity of the story.
I would argue a lot of the themes from the comic are also do come through still in the film, no matter regardless of whether you like the film or not. Some of the main themes I feel like are still captured in this story because he pulls a lot of the quotes and scenes and big moments directly from the source material. It's not like he kind of veered off. There is obviously some differences, but and stuff that he wasn't able to add to the film. But I still think there's like thematically, like in some of the points he was trying to get across in the book, I think while he may have just scratched the surface, I still think came through. Would you agree on that? Like I think some of the themes I feel like still come through. Yeah. There's still some of the themes about the whole. I thought the ending, like the point he was trying to get across, although it's kind of
hard not
totally different, like the ending in comparison. But
I have a take about that.
Okay,
I have
we'll
an
get to
interesting
it.
thing about that ending. But should we get into likes and dislikes overall? Like
I mean, like it's hard for me to. I think if I had to be fully honest about a dislike, it's because the theatrical release is the shorter version, and maybe this isn't true of the ultimate cut, but like. It does feel as though a bit like things. It's not about how it's edited that it jumps around. It feels like certain bits and pieces don't have enough time to become fully formed. And that is the problem with adapting a source material like this that has so much to it. So like you were saying, it only scratches the surface of a few things that like upon this rewatch and having to be more critical about the way in which the story is put together and how fleshed out it is, it did feel as though I was like, oh, that was kind of just like a nod to this thing of like, yeah, like you were saying, the Minutemen, we don't like know a lot about them. We have like bits and pieces, but that was the other thing is like sort of looking at it this time kind of under a microscope. There were stuff that I noticed when I was paying more intense attention to it for the sake of like criticizing it and doing this discussion about it that I didn't pay attention to the first or second time that I watched it just out of enjoyment. So there were things that I noticed, this little nods and winks to things that I didn't notice any other time. But yeah, there was this element of like, well, that could have used a little bit more backstory, or that, this thing they could have gone into more detail about this. But I understand the stuff gets left on the cutting room floor because theatrical release has got to be under like 3 hours. And
everything I've read, Julie, is that the people that do like this movie, by the way, at least according to the Letterboxd community, we're in the minority. This has an overall 4 is the average score of this movie.
It's pretty decent, yeah.
Fans.
I've
like
seen
we're
crazy reviews.
It has its fans. A lot of people like this movie. I would argue even some people prior maybe to some of the DC stuff. This is their favorite Snyder film. I would even say that even the people that did not like the DC stuff, this might be their favorite Snyder film. A lot of people there's fans of this movie.
Some people I've seen.
There's fans of this movie.
Best superhero movie
people
they've ever seen.
People enjoy this movie, and everything I've read, Julie, and I watched the director's cut.
Yeah,
They say that even the ultimate cut, like they say that those cuts are better, like than the theatrical. So I don't know. I mean, for the fans of the film, anyways. Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that what I dislike about it is just that some parts of it don't feel like they're fully formed because I think it was a time issue. But I do like when you do like pay attention to the opening credits under a microscope, there's a lot of content in there. And like I think somewhere it didn't get like an award or something, but I remember reading something about how like people were saying this is like the best opening credit sequence of all time.
I didn't think about when I was watching it, but that opening credit scene is actually really good. That's probably maybe my favorite part.
The whole thing's in slow motion, so that's very Zack Snyder.
You guys are stepping on my likes and the few that I have.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, I mean, you're getting into your likes, Julie. I totally agree with both of you. The intro I actually love.
And that's not in the book.
Well,
that part is not in the book.
So there's certain.
It's all about setting the scene, like a lot of it, but it also it's helping to like illustrate the time period. It's helping to illustrate the alternate version of the universe. Like, yeah,
I love the intro. Even the whole setup with the comedian getting killed leading into the intro, I think is that intro. The intro itself, though, as they're doing all the flashbacks of the old team. And showing basically the American history that kind of like went through
formed around it. Yeah,
exactly. Great. Even you know what? Honestly, even the song choice for that I thought it's
brilliant.
Even though it's on the nose, I think it worked. The
song, I read about that there's a lot of like the songs that they got for the movie. Thank God they did were things that were directly ripped, like referenced somehow in the material.
But the intro, I agree, is great. I just wish that. Unfortunately, they kind of gloss over so many things that happen to these characters that we really but it leaves you wanting more, like, oh, I wish I knew more about them during that period of time or this incident or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so, and if you do read some of the comics, like there is a little bit more context given to some of those events, like as you saw, like comedian was part of the JFK assassination. He was,
that's like implied in the book,
right?
But they just flat out show it in the movie, which I was like shocked.
And there's been other series that have come after that in more recent years where they revisit certain Watchmen stuff and they flesh those things out more in comics. And some people don't even they disregard those series, like because they're like, it wasn't done by Alan Moore.
It's not pure. Yeah,
right. It's not canon. I don't count this.
All that shit, bro. All that Doomsday Clock and Before Watchmen and all.
No, but here's the thing. I like those series.
Really?
Yes, it's not Watchmen, but I know that going into it. I know that.
Don't touch it.
There's some good stories.
Same
still
thing with that HBO show. Like, it has nothing to do with Watchmen. Like, why are you calling
it Watchmen in name only?
Get the fuck out of here, bro, with that.
I was gonna bring that up later. Like, I'm not familiar with any of the other Watchmen titled things that have come after this. Like, there is a show and there's something else. There's another movie, isn't there?
There's the Tales of the Black Freighter, the animated film, I believe, and then there's also I don't think there's another film. There's like the actual.
Maybe it's the show.
There's the show, the HBO show. That was one season, yeah.
Okay.
Which is by Damon Lindelof, and there's some people who used to be like the guy that was on Lost, and he also has written some comics.
Okay.
There's some people that feel that show is brilliant. Like some of the things they addressed in the show, they use like kind of the world of Watchmen to do, but it's Watchmen really mainly only in name. Like it's very loosely based. It's not what this movie is essentially.
I got another list, guys. TV shows I vow never to watch. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just started another one.
That shows there's people that I've talked to
that like it. No, that critically acclaimed.
Hate this movie but love that show.
And are fierce defenders of that. Yeah. Huh.
Yes. But Max is right. It's very loosely based on Watchmen. It's not Watchmen essentially.
See, maybe they get away with it better because it's like it's not directly adapting a source material. It's like it's set in this universe, but the content is meant to be a little bit more original. Because they're trying to draw the audience. They're trying to draw the attention of the people that are familiar.
From what I understand is that he uses it as a scope to kind of center in on and discuss social issues in America, essentially, as this comic sort of was touching on as well in that sense. That's kind of what the show more was about, from what I understand, but it's not really what, again, I think the movie captures more of the comic than the show did in that sense. So I
think just to get back to like likes and dislikes generally, I don't have a huge ton of issues with it, and maybe I'll turn around on that because that happened on something else that some other episode we did, that you brought up things that I was like, shit, I didn't even pick up on that. You're right, I was annoyed by that, and so that might change as we talk here. But what I do like about it, like that opening credit sequence is brilliant. I think it sets the scene really well. It is something to pay attention to while they're listing off a bunch of names. It's great. I think that all of the song choices are fucking phenomenal. I think that the scoring, although there's not too much of it to pay attention to necessarily, was done well. I think that it was cast really well. I didn't have any issues with any casting. Yeah, I don't know. I think I was reading about it more later too, like this. There was something particular they did about the CGI stuff with Dr. Manhattan that was like a big time saver and a big money saver for them. It was incredibly smart, and it was also practical to do it the way that they did, which made for, like, obviously he's very CGI, but the sort of ambience of him, basically, oh my god, what the fuck is his name? Huh?
Oh, the guy who played him, you mean?
Billy Crudup.
Yeah, Billy
Crudup, yeah.
That's just my own.
He wore the mocap suit while they were filming, and they filmed it with two cameras, one to get his facial expressions and the other to get the CGI mapping for his movements. And they had him wear this suit of 1,200 LED blue lights so that the stuff around him was...
That's cool.
Illuminated properly in scene, so that didn't have to be added in post, which makes it a lot more palatable to watch, because it doesn't look unnatural, because it was what was happening. It was light cast from the suit he was wearing, so it doesn't feel like it's fake because they did a bunch of post in 2009. So I think that was incredibly smart. So anyway, my point being that I felt that even though Dr. Manhattan is very CGI, it doesn't feel like a glaringly obvious bad CGI to me, which is something I get bothered by sometimes. But I really like this movie overall. But I'm looking forward to the discussion about it, so that I can get an alternate perspective.
No, I can appreciate that. No, good. That's why we want to hear why you like this movie, because there's even something there that you mentioned that is a huge dislike for me, but we'll get that into when we get into dislike.
I saw your face, and I know where it was.
I'm very surprised at you for this thing. I don't know. We have to talk about it. We'll get into it, but very quickly, likes, because they are much shorter, my likes and my dislikes in this film. I will say, first off, Malin Ackerman is smoking hot. I love her. She is fantastic.
Has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, yes, it does. She's in the movie.
I agree with him. No problems with that.
I like years ago, I feel like, or early years dating too, Christine dressed up as her for Halloween one year as well.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Silk Spectre, as well as Malin Ackerman in this movie as Silk Spectre. Even her mom, actually, in this movie.
Carla Gugino.
Yeah.
Great. I love her too.
Carla Gugino, sorry, yeah.
She's awesome.
She's so hot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, her too.
She's only 7 years older than fucking Malin Ackerman.
Right. She's not an old lady. That's all I was like.
No, but I think in the comic, though, that's the case. Like, she's in her early 20s
like
when she has her. So it actually
like
makes sense that there's not much difference between them in age, and that they're both very good women in the comic too. Like, you know what I mean? So I thought the casting overall was very strong, as Julie said. I actually think that it's actually aged more favorably over time, because people's stars have risen since this film. I actually forgot some of these people were in this movie.
Jack Earl Haley, Patrick Wilson.
I always forget Patrick Wilson's name. Yeah, but he's in this. He's in everything. I feel like Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in this movie, who's done a shitload of things since this movie, and also like a shitload of comic book movies. Because I feel like the only thing I knew about him at this time was Supernatural and this, and like a couple of other things. But like since then, he's been Negan in Walking Dead. He's in The Boys. Like he's been in all kinds of things, right? A lot of comic book stuff too. Also, I think the movie itself looks good. It holds up. It looks good. It's a good-looking movie. I thought the actual look of the characters was well done. Like you mentioned, Julie, about I actually agree with some of the positives that you've mentioned about this movie, about like, bringing the look of these comic book characters to life on the screen. Whether or not you may feel like the characterizations were good, if you read the source material or not, or what they captured about the characters, whether you liked it or not, I think the look of the characters itself was done well. Like I think that part of it was really well done. I think it's a sharp-looking movie. I think the effects, like you mentioned, hold up. The style and look of some of Snyder's stuff, whether or not you're a fan, I think it is a sharp looking film. I think like it held up for me upon this rewatch, I will say. And then, as I mentioned earlier, certain scenes and themes from the comic I thought were captured well, if not as good. But again, having the opportunity, seeing some of these played out in the film was fun. And I found myself thinking over some of the themes themselves that Alan Moore had posed that were present in his comic work while watching this. So, so that's my likes about the film right there.
Yeah.
Likes, I like the opening sequence. I probably have less likes than you, honestly.
That's okay.
I have to be honest with you guys. Like, a lot of my point of view is gonna be like this versus the comic book. So if that becomes like kind of like a boring thing, but that's kind of just where I'm coming from a lot of this.
That's true to the perspective. I have no issue with that.
Yeah. So the opening sequence is good. The cast is, like a lot. It's crazy. It's like you see, when you go back to these older movies, or like not older, but like movies, and then all these stars become more famous later on.
Like these guys weren't big at this time.
Like I feel like I had that moment when I rewatched Scott Pilgrim recently, and I was like, holy shit, everyone in this movie is a star. And then kind of watch something like this, and you go, wow, like it's like Patrick Wilson before like the Conjuring movies and stuff, and that's good to see him. And as far as the cast goes, my personal favorites is the guy who played Rorschach. I don't know his name, but
Jackie Earl Haley.
He was fantastic, and
he was Freddy Krueger later on, I think.
Oh, was he?
Nice. In the worst Freddy Krueger movie, it's the one where they tried to bring it back. Terrible, fucking terrible.
Okay, fair. But I wasn't familiar with any of I'm aware of the story of those movies, but like. I think I've only seen tidbits of it, and I've seen him in clips. And I'm like, oh, actually, like I thought that maybe the movie sucked, but I was like, that's actually kind of a good role for him to be in. I feel like because he looks the part.
Yes. No, I have no problem with them casting him in that movie. It's just the movie itself. It sucked. Yeah, but and that was the only time I think he played him, because they tried to bring it back with that movie.
Yeah,
it failed. So like that was it. After that. Unfortunately, but
Jeffrey Dean Morgan kills it as the comedian. I think
those are my two favorite characters in this: Rorschach and the comedian. And in the comic too, to be honest.
In the comic, it's probably Dr. Manhattan, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't really like Billy Crudup's performance.
I didn't mind it.
What did you dislike about it?
I don't
You know what it was, Max? I don't think they captured the really good monologues that
I don't think they captured like Dr. Manhattan's character.
That's right. But that's not his fault.
You're right.
That's not his fault.
You know what? Let me take that back.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's not his fault. It has
nothing to do with Billy Crudup. It's the characterization. And I think him and the worst offenders is him, and I think Silk Spectre, because you guys don't mind if I just bleed into my Netflix as well? Like,
go ahead.
I feel like Lori is like the one that got the short. How does that saying go? The short end of the
stick.
Yeah, like when you read the comics, she feels like so much. It's so ironic that a comic book has more feels more real than a movie. Like, she's so much more layered as a character. She's like, smoking, and they didn't even have her as a smoker in this movie. She's smoking and she's swearing, and she's like showing kind of like an uglier side to her. And she's like, no, but she's like a very flawed and traumatized character, and it's so real and it's so like moving in the book, but in the story I feel like she's just like a hot piece of ass. I'm sorry, but like just walking around, like she's just like, there's like no character. I feel like she's kind of like, she almost feels like kind of like a child almost, or like clueless.
Sort of, yeah.
Sees like it has that. I have that like, I'm like, did Zack Snyder just cast her? Because I'm not saying anything about the actress, but like, Did Zack Snyder just cast her because she wanted to see her naked or something?
Well, since it's just on topic to what you're saying, I'll also throw out quickly one of my dislikes when we're talking about casting. I agree with you that they didn't capture certain aspects of Dr. Manhattan, but for me, the one they totally dropped the ball on, and terrible. Matthew Good, I've looked at his credits. He's been in something, other things I've seen.
Matthew Good, yeah.
He did not.
I don't know if I know him from anything else.
I don't really know him from too much else. I've seen a couple of things I feel like they've mentioned, but I don't remember him in those things. If that means anything. Like he's not a standout. His character is such an important character in this story, and I think they failed on both aspects. One, him playing the character, the acting wasn't good. Two, the character is just terribly written in this movie. For me, I think Ozymandias is literally the crux of the ending of the comic and the importance of the commentary on like humanity and like the whole idea that they duped people into thinking something occurred, which is a different cataclysmic doomsday event in the comic as it is in comparison to the movie. That being said, it's just really a shitty version of it. Do you like Ozymandias in this movie?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but you know what?
He has one good line that always sticks out for me. But like
sell the intelligent, like he's supposed to be the smartest man, like in the you know what I mean, like that's his power.
That is translated to me that he's just that he is supposed to be the smartest man. He thinks he's just king shit of everyone, but he just comes across as like arrogant, pompous, and an asshole, and not so much like he actually is the smartest man.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the impression I get. So it's kind of good that I have this perspective of like how does the movie translate the character without knowing the material at all. So it's kind of good that I didn't read it, I guess.
My problem with the whole Ozymandias thing actually is like the overall thing is I hate how dark his suit is. Like in the comic books, it's like this very like bright purple, and it's very actually all the characters are more colorful in the books. And I noticed that's like not even with Watchmen, but I noticed that's a common occurrence is like in a lot of these comic books. It's not just Snyder. No, hold on. It's not just Snyder, because I noticed in a lot of comic book movies, it's almost like they're afraid to show the color of comic books, which I don't like. Like even in the original X-Men
Man
movies,
of Steel, same
thing. No, but look at the original X-Men movies. Like if you read a X-Men comic, they're all colorful. Like yellow Wolverine has the yellow and they have the blue, and Cyclops is red.
And they only just did right by that with the fucking Deadpool movie.
That's what I'm saying. It's like in back in the days when they first started making those X-Men movies, which were like the real first like serious comic book movies. I feel like that's when they started this genre started having some
leather jacket.
They went with all black leather jackets, almost as they're like embarrassed by the source material.
No,
like we can't.
So Morrison did that at that time in his comic run of the X-Men, and I think it was a mistake. I agree.
So many fans were clamoring for so many years, like do the yellow suit Wolverine, do the yellow suit, and then all the directors and the actors were like, no, that's ridiculous.
Why? Because people think for whatever reason that's where you draw the line in terms of realism in a superhero.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
No one would wear that. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I agree with you.
So they're like, ridiculous. Oh, the yellow suit, that's ridiculous. And then when they finally did it in the Deadpool movie, and everybody loved it, and it looked amazing. When Wolverine jumps out of the bus and he's got the yellow, it looks awesome.
No, I agree with you.
And the Watchmen, I think one of the greatest like things about Watchmen is like if you read it, you wouldn't tell that it's a dark story because of how bright the color palette is. It's almost like the darkness kind of sneaks up on you. This darkness is in the subject material, right? Not necessarily in the tone of it. But Zack Snyder does the Zack Snyder thing where everything has to be dark tinted, and Ozymandias.
This is what I'm saying.
He naturally does that. But like a lot of people have done that besides him. Like I'm bringing up the X-Men.
Yeah, but this is the hang up that people have about his stuff. That's one of the major things that people don't like.
Like
about his
I don't
stuff.
like the suits, just like the colorfulness of the characters, and I think the reason why it's like that's so important is because it's like the subversion of it because like when these characters are like bright colored superheroes and you think they're like cool and shit, and then the comedian rapes with the mom, the Sally, and you go, holy fuck, these people are like actual like pieces of trash. Like these characters are not good people.
Can I just point something out to your point though about that? In this movie though, it's more acceptable than it is in the DC stuff where people were saying how the things were dark.
Well, people were saying that about Superman, right?
This is what I'm saying.
That's and I said earlier, I was like,
It's more acceptable, like the audience forgave it, or you're talking about like it was better?
In general, this world is much more cruel and dark. And,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Me,
Because the setting is that way.
I don't mind it as much in that aspect as opposed to Superman, where it should not be dark and like
the actual suit looks dark in Superman.
Right.
That's all.
No, you're right about that, and that's why I said earlier when we were talking about this that like a lot of the critiques that people have of Man of Steel, I'm starting to sort of like relate to them a bit now because I'm looking at Watchmen in that same way. I was like, yeah, like Watchmen is such a colorful comic book. Like as far as like the range of colors, I don't like how dark tinted it looks. Like I like Ozymandias suit looks terrible to me in this movie. Like it doesn't have that brightness that
what's funny about that is they based his suit for the movie on the Bat Nipple suit.
Oh yeah.
They based it. What is that? Joel Schumacher? That one? That Batman? Yeah, they were trying to make it kind of the same campy Bat Nipple suit. Like they were adapting, like paying homage to that for some reason.
Also, like even the Mars sequence in the movie, like it's so colorful and beautiful in the comic books. It looks very like not attractive in the movie. Like I don't know. I just don't like the coloring of the movie. I guess like the actual look of it. Yeah. Like it's so much more grand.
That's Ozymandias.
Yeah, it's so sick, yo. And
yeah, they really didn't. They didn't even pick somebody who had the right build, to be honest.
You know, but the thing is, a lot of
he looks like Thor.
It's the number one character they got wrong for me. Like, and I would put Dr. Manhattan's characterization behind it. Not the look, though. The look I think was well done, but like the characterization and just like
I think Silk Spectre. I think they kind of that's maybe that I'm alone on that one.
I'm a little blind on that because I like Malin Ackerman so much.
No, she's pretty. She's a pretty girl. But what I'm saying is like the actual character. I feel like they added no depth to her in this movie.
Is the comic? I have a question about her and her presence in this movie. Does the comic have the same graphic kind of the sex scene? Is that like just
like it's not as gratuitous?
It's not like it was depicted in the film, but there is a sex scene,
and not as neither is the violence. Like the Watchmen is a violent comic, but this is so over the top with its violence. I don't like that. Like,
I don't feel like it was that bad. Like, but I think so here's the other point I have to that is I think that he's banking Zack Snyder on the same audience as Sin City.
But again, Sin City really works well in, but it's a neo-noir. This is like, this is so over the top in the way it's presented, though. And Sin City's purposely like tongue in, like you're right. That the tone of that though is supposed to be more like it is than this is. Like that scene where they cut off the guy's arms with it is ridiculous. Like when he puts his arms in the cell, that's not in the comic. When he chops the dude.
Okay, fair.
That's like that whole thing.
Actually, the way he kills him is like maybe more violent, but it's not as.
He
graphic.
slits his throat though, and it's off screen.
But I'm talking about the rapist that he like chops.
That's a little bit different.
The hatchet thing, that's just like holy fuck.
No, it's dark. Really Watchmen's dark too, but the whole thing.
It's that scene particularly does stick out to me as graphic, but I don't find it to be unjustified. Like as far as the character building and that whole thing there.
That's not.
Rorschach's brutal. Like he's brutal.
What about
it's the end? Like he was saying in his monologue, like he was like,
"This is a very
whoever. Oh fuck! What is his name? What is his actual name? Whatever his real name is, he was like that guy died that day."
Oh,
Walter
Kovacs.
Walter Kovacs. He was like, whatever was left of Walter Kovacs died that day. And that like signifies the end of his, like Walter is his alter ego from then on. Like that all fit together nicely for me. You are kind of right about the prison scene. That was very gratuitous.
The street alley scene is not as like graphic.
It's not the violence though. It's the way it's presented.
Yeah.
It's just so in your face. Yeah, it's so over the top. Like it's so funny that Max is saying these things because these are the things that people don't like about Zack Snyder. Like these, and you see it in this movie. But the DC stuff you don't see it as much because the DC stuff you had to clean up a bit.
Right.
But this is what the people that don't like Zack Snyder, this is some of the things
I'll say this.
They say, right?
Can I get this out? I think the thing is also in the material is like I don't think Watchmen lends itself to the same type of approach that Sin City and 300 does, which is coincidentally both like Frank Miller books. I feel like Frank Miller is like he's going for that stylized action because that's a Frank Miller book. Like the way I would compare
Alan Moore's a bit more sophisticated.
I feel like like Miller would be like Tarantino, and then Alan Moore is like Stanley Kubrick, where it's like the ideas, context, and like that's sort of what's the most important thing about his stories. And Zack Snyder is using the brain of like Frank Miller approach to adapt an Alan Moore story, and I just don't think
that's
really
why
works.
The style or substance works for those films. It doesn't.
It doesn't work here. And the thing is like if you read Watchmen, and the thing is like why it was like a very tough read for me as a like when I at that age when I first read it, it was because like a lot of the storytelling is in the details, and the details tell the story. I hate how the movie opens up and the comedian is like watching TV and he's rifling through the channels, and he goes on a TV channel and they're discussing, the Russians can attack us at any moment, la 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 la. And I guess I get it. Zack Snyder is trying to like try to set the mood that this is a Cold War story, like right out the gate. That doesn't, and when you read the book, that doesn't happen until like the third or fourth issue that you understand that this is.
Yeah, there's like bits and pieces that seem to be out of order as for how it was presented in the movie.
It just feels very like cheap. Like it feels like very like I get like it's like a very Hollywood approach. I get it. It's a Hollywood movie, but it's a very Hollywood approach. And the funny thing that when you earlier, Julie, when you said I like the movie because it's like badass and like these are the aspects of it that is like really, and I actually respect that. That's how the perspective you have, and I actually really like that.
This might be my Mad Max.
Yeah. No, that's so fair. That's not like I totally get where you're coming from, but those exact reasons,
it is a 5-star film for you.
Yeah, facts.
That is.
But those exact reasons for me is why I dislike this movie, because if you read Watchmen, it's not supposed to be badass. It's supposed to be like it's like a really human story, and I don't think that I felt that a lot in this movie. And I really, I could go on about the comic book, but I would really love maybe one day for us to like actually dive deep into it because it's so brilliant.
That's why we have to leave that discussion.
And a lot of the things I like, why I see a lot of people would like this movie, I feel like has nothing to do with Zack Snyder. I think it has to do with the source material, how the overall encompassing story. It shows you these characters, and then it gives you just a little bit of a taste of who these characters are. Like when like Dr. Manhattan goes to Mars, that's his story, and he tells you his backstory. And then when Rorschach has that therapy session with that therapist, and he tells you his backstory. And then Ozymandias, they didn't even really tell Ozymandias.
Well, that's why I think the best takeaway is what Julie mentioned earlier, is that if you had any interest in this film and it makes you seek out the comic book, then it's a good thing. That's the way I look at it.
But the thing is like why I see why a lot of people would like the way I see like a lot of the brilliance I think people would find in this movie, like as far as the storytelling and as far as the actual story of it goes, has nothing to do with Zack Snyder. That's just how brilliant the story is. Like how all these characters are presented and their situations.
He's adapting something.
It's just but that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of like my biggest takeaway of it is like,
well, that's why I said I was defensive towards it in the sense that when earlier when I said that I probably find this more interesting than Man of Steel because this is Watchmen still at the end of the day, even though this is a poor representation of it compared to the comic book. It's still I feel like some of the themes seep through for me still. Like
I think Man of Steel is a much stronger film personally, but whatever we could but like
I think they're in the same.
I just mean it's rare that you'll see like a superhero team movie, and this is essentially what this is, where each character is given that respect. In the source material, it really is given that respect, and in this movie, it does. And like the times when it does give those characters the respect, it shines through. Actually, I do really like that. I guess we're not going into scenes, right? We're just
but we should mention like Julie if she has any dislikes before we get into the rest of ours, because you kind of went all over.
I don't like
spitting vitriol.
Sorry, Julie. I don't like the songs in this movie. I don't like.
You're
the
stepping
songs.
on all my fucking dislikes over here. Yeah, that's why I was smiling. Well, she already knew what I thought.
I know.
Why do you why would you defend that, Julie? This is my whole
They
thing.
feel so out of place. A lot of them.
You are a person that appreciates a good score. The needle drops in this movie are fucking terrible.
What do we? Hold on. What did that mean?
The hallelujah part where they.
Okay, no. Okay, hold on. I rescind.
Thank you, man. It is one of the worst fucking
what about the Simon and Garfunkel?
The
one?
purple when they're going to Antarctica. I was like, why would they? They totally diffused how good of a lead up of a scene that was with that song. I'm like, why is this playing right now?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I
don't like when
the only song in which the only licensed song in which I had issue was Hallelujah. That is the worst cover of that song I've ever heard in my life.
Not only that, that's the worst scene of this movie. It's terrible.
I hate when
but would it be better with a different song? Like that sex scene goes on way too long.
It's actually not that bad of a sex scene, but it's so bad that it's so bad that I couldn't even focus on the fact that she was topless in that.
The song is bad but here's the thing. The other thing.
Here's the thing, Julie. The songs themselves on their own are not bad. There's a lot of really good songs in here.
No, I'm talking specifically about Hallelujah.
Usage of the songs are bad in this movie.
Wait, what about when she meets up with him?
I don't know why. I can't believe you're gonna defend this, Julie. I'm so shocked about this.
What about when
I'm so shocked.
What about when Lori meets up with Dan at the restaurant and they play that Luftballon song? I was like, what the
great. I loved it.
Bro, when they play that Imperazzo, the song from Raging Bull when he's doing the punching, I'm like, what are they doing right now? The old night. What?
I thought you never saw Raging
No,
Bull.
but I know the scene.
Oh, okay.
I know that's the most famous scene.
What are you talking about?
There's a scene where in the old Night Owl where they go to his house to beat him up, and he's doing like these punches, and they're using the song from the boxing movie Raging Bull, the Scorsese film. Yeah. It's like this. Oh. Yeah, it's the song that's
when
playing.
they kill the old man. Julie, remember those thugs? They go to his house and
the original Night Owl.
Hollis Mason.
Yeah.
When is that in the movie? Like which part of the movie?
It's probably in the director's cut. It's probably not.
Do they not show that in the?
No, she doesn't. If she's not remembering it, it's probably a director.
Unless it was like in the opening credits.
No, it's like in the middle of the film towards the end, like
when they kill Hollis Mason.
Yeah, he gets killed. The original Night Owl. He gets beat up there at the end, like
the guy that he has drinks with in the beginning.
Yeah. They kill him. I go fuck.
These goons go to his house, and
no, I don't think it's in.
Oh,
wow,
it
must be.
I could be. Maybe I. No, it sounds like it was given enough time to understand that happened.
Yeah.
Even so, between Hallelujah,
the Hallelujah one is bad. I'll give you that. I forgot about that.
Haze leading into the Antarctica.
I liked it.
No,
I don't like the funeral one.
I liked it.
Garfunkel one.
I'm so shocked at you, Julie. Honestly, like you're a person that likes a good score.
When I hear, except for that fucking Hallelujah cover, that. No dispute there. That is the fucking worst song in the movie. It's so bad. And you know what? I particularly have issue with the fucking flamethrower bit when they hit it at the wrong part of the song.
Yeah. You know what? I actually like that one. The Valkyries, in Vietnam.
The only one I like is the intro.
One actually makes a lot
of
sense.
Bob Dylan song is the only one where I feel like
they
it's what they're showing you in that scene. Every other part, like why am I listening to Purple Haze when they're on the way to Antarctica?
I loved every other choice. And this is the thing I was saying, though. When I hear those songs, I think of the part of the movie that it was in when I hear them in the wild.
So the only thing I'll say about it is the songs themselves are good songs. The use of the songs are bad, in my opinion.
None of them stuck out to me as glaringly wrong except for Hallelujah.
Oh my God, they all suck out. That's why I meant my needle drops. Like the usage of this guy thinks he's like Martin Scorsese in this movie or something.
Yeah,
but he's good at it. When he's good at it, they are not. It's just like,
I think though that
it's also indicative of the times. Like it's representative of the times they're trying to talk about in this. And in that sense, the usage again is good. They just don't know how to mesh it with the scene.
I would think they would go for more of an '80s soundtrack. Why was Purple Haze in there?
It's more about I felt like the Minutemen kind of period, like leading into this time period.
But when I was reading up about this, like why they picked the songs that they did, it seemed as though a lot of them are referenced in the books.
Well, there's a moment in the book when Lori calls Dan, like the Night Owl, he calls him like you act like Devo or something, and I'm like, it wouldn't make sense if they used the Devo song in this movie. I don't know why.
Doesn't mean that they got to use the songs though. Like it
Why
really,
not?
it's just shitting on the fucking great.
Well, you know what's funny too is they
this.
play a song in the book. He plays a song when they're rescuing those people out of the fire. He's playing like a Billie Jean song or something. What's that? Not Billie Jean.
Well, Billie Jean's the
Billy
Michael
Joel-
Jackson
no,
song.
What's
Billy Joel?
No, that jazz
Oh,
singer.
it didn't start the fire. That's
No, not a Michael Jackson song.
no, that's a Billy Joel song.
No, not Billy Joel.
We
It's like a jazz singer from like this black girl, Billy something.
Oh,
Billie Holiday.
Billie
Holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah, Billie Holiday. Yeah. They play one of her songs. Like he plays it over the loudspeakers in the comic book.
wow, Julian,
And he's
we're not gonna agree on this. This is your
I'm surprised
your
they
version
didn't
of
use
that.
Okay, can I? But I have to your particular point about the '99 Luftballon song.
Oh god.
This one, because you took particular issue with it. The song is a protest song against nuclear weapons.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So, like, it does have significance, like the content
I just think it's like so she's meeting her friend, right? And then
at the diner.
at a diner, whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like they haven't seen each other for. And then I don't know. It's just like such a corny song to play, like doom 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 doom. Like I didn't think it fit the.
It just feels like a fucking 80s, like the girl next door fucking moment to me,
I
though.
don't know. Yeah, I guess.
No, I'm with you 100%. I think the music's terrible. The
I just
usage of
didn't
the
think it
music's
fit the
terrible. in
mood
this
of the
movie.
scene. Is
I think it's good.
Wow.
The bit about that song is like it's a protest song against nuclear weapons, in which a general mistake.
remember
This is her guitar guy.
Yeah.
like that guy.
In the song, a general mistakes 99 balloons in the air for UFOs and sends in jet fighters to shoot them down.
You know what? I didn't know that about the song. So that
But I see what you're saying. Like even that, it because of the content of the song, it doesn't fit in that moment.
Boogie Nights, and that shit has nothing to do with
Listen, if I could play the songs right now without this thing getting flagged and removed, I totally would. Because it's literally like, all right, let's go take this guy down now on our way to Antarctica.
I can't believe it. This is my guitar guy. This is it.
Like that's a very terrifying moment. They're going to Antarctica and they don't know if they're gonna come back, and it's like this is not like let's go kick some ass music. Like I don't know. Like this,
I think and the
loud watching it. When
the
I was just like, what is
the Ride of the Valkyries one too, I think is
like
well
that.
placed.
I actually like
That's
that.
from
And
Apocalypse
that's
Now.
Apocalypse
Yeah,
Now, like
yeah,
a Vietnam War thing. So I guess
There's 3 Bob Dylan songs. Desolation Row.
the 3 for me were Hallelujah, Purple Haze, and the usage of
It's not Purple Haze. It's All Along the Watchtower.
whatever that
All Along
fucking
the
song. Yeah,
Watchtower,
that's
yeah.
right. It's the
Which-
it should be.
Those are all 3 of those are Bob Dylan songs.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
originally.
But
also-
there was 2 of them are covers.
That's right. That's right.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
Cool.
And all 3 songs are referred to in the novel.
The usage of it was bad.
Oh yeah, because at the end of the chapters, there's like lyrics, right? Of a like,
Yeah, but reading it and actually having it layered over a scene is
Yeah.
completely. It's.
I guess that makes sense.
It feels
but
cheap.
I would think maybe even
it feels cheap,
I feel
and
like
I feel like
it
they're
does.
trying to like manipulate my feelings of the scene, and I'm just like, I don't feel this way.
you know what? I feel like it
I
would.
think-
be totally
I
different.
think that their usage of Unforgettable is also brilliant.
I think the mood would be different if they use Bob Dylan's original version.
Probably.
Because Bob Dylan has a different sort of tone in his music than like Jimi
Yeah,
Hendrix.
his
Like,
timbre.
don't know.
I only
You
like.
think it would improve?
I think it might have. Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see like
Bob
Yeah,
Dylan,
that's-
the Times Changing song is the only one I thought they used well. That's it. The rest is crap.
I probably would have
sorry.
preferred like just me personally, I probably would have preferred a soundtrack than a score.
For someone that appreciates music like you
Like,
do,
sorry, a
Julie,
score.
I have to call you out on
I'd
that
prefer
one.
It's brilliant.
score,
I liked it.
Brilliant. Whoa.
You take issue with all of it except for the one?
Oh, I think it's terrible.
You thought that like when
I think it's just like it's literally at the top.
spoiler alert when Ozymandias comes in to kill the comedian, but that song that's playing, that Unforgettable song,
It's fine.
it's okay. All right.
I told you ones I hated the most. They're
That's
both-
also in the fucking book.
all right. Time to take him down. I was like, what is going on here? Oh,
What
I finally
else?
hooked up with Silk Spectre. Hallelujah.
How else can I defend the music?
That scene just went on for
Can I
too
get
long.
my other dislikes off then?
Go ahead.
Fire.
Here's another one. There's like a cheesy like cop having to hand his badge over to the police commissioner and being dropped from the force like moment where they're like, whatever happened to us, like Night Owl and, and Rorschach, and he's like, whatever he says, he's like, you stop being a superhero or whatever. I forgot what the fuck he says, and as he walks off, there's like a guitar like riff of like that you would see like one of those cop shows. Right?
Was that his moment with Rorschach, or was that with the comedian?
Where's Rorschach and Night Owl at the start, where he first encounters, like, he sees him eating the beans and all that. Like, he's
yeah.
So he basically says this line and he walks off into the tunnels. He's like, I remember I used to be your partner, remember, or whatever. And like, then there's like that ding, like a guitar riff.
I missed that.
It's like the moment like in like a cop show where like he hands in his badge and the guy's like on the brink of like getting, you know, kicked off the force. Like, I don't know. You have to watch it. You have to see the sound effects so bad though.
Yeah.
A lot of Zack Snyder's super slow fighting moments were bad in this. They were used on full display here and was used a lot more frequently than even something like Man of Steel, which we just talked about. So there you go. I gave a shout out to Man of Steel for that. It didn't do it as much as this movie like that. And Max already touched on this. I also thought some of the super hyper violent scenes were a tad overdone for my liking. It's just very in your face and very on the nose at times.
Unnecessary, I think, for this.
Yeah, and it makes it hard to root or look at these people as superheroes. Although I guess it's sort of the point as well, as like in a way that the world has turned their backs on them, and these guys are just like, fuck you, like we're just gonna kill them.
They're decaying and they're deteriorating as heroes.
As they are in this film, like that's clearly like the vibe they were going for, is just like, you know, like Rorschach is he's a psychopath. He is in the comic book too, like he has issues, but there's reasons for it. Like he's mentally unstable. So
I forgot how red-pilled he is in the movie. I didn't realize how fucking crazy Republican he is.
Well, here's the thing.
Until this rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about this.
There's a lot of like anti-liberal talk from him.
Yeah.
It's more so because he feels the liberals are weak because they don't, the way they treat the treatment of society by liberal, like the liberal outlook on stuff and the way that's went. It's funny because like I don't think he's as hard as a right-wing guy is. Like, I know like he reads the rags and stuff they were talking about in this. It's more about just the ideals of liberal people that he hates, like the way that they just turn a blind eye to certain aspects. I feel like that's what he hates, is that he's like, you know what I mean, like the treatment of people in the jail system and like and mental illness and like that, and like and the sickos out there, like he says you guys let them get away with too much, like the bad people in the world. And like that's like in that moment it's displayed very well where he goes to take that guy in. He's like, oh yeah, just take me in. Yeah, I give up or whatever. He's like, no, I'm gonna fucking kill you because
dogs get put down.
Yeah. So that's, you're right though. I forgot about that, like how he's kind of depicted in this and in the comic actually.
But that is like the breaking point for him.
Yeah.
My last point to defend the music, I swear to God we'll move on after this. I found my other point. The song that plays during the comedian's funeral, which is Simon and Garfunkel's Sound of Silence, has been associated with the Kennedy assassination in real life. And it was revealed in the beginning of the movie that the comedian is the one who shot him in this universe. And that's why they used it there.
Even though there's reasons as to why they used the music they did, doesn't mean they had to use it.
I'm just saying, I'm just giving you the director's defense of his choosing.
Yeah,
so he had
Tyler, maybe it was Tyler Bates' defense.
At the end of the day, these are just artistic choices. You either are on board with them or not, you know. So
no, I'm on board with every single one except for Hallelujah.
But like he has a reason for picking them, like as Julie's pointing out. So
it didn't work for me. That's all.
Me neither, to be honest. But
I had no issue with any song choices except for Hallelujah. I'm totally with you on that one. It's the worst cover.
Is you guys.
What?
I don't hate that Hallelujah one as much.
I hated it.
Yeah, I mean,
Hallelujah.
I feel like if they were trying to have a scene of like
I mean, thank God that milquetoast guy like actually hooked up with her. Like,
it's a song that like it's a song that typically is associated with like heartbreak and love loss though in movies, and they're using it in the opposite way here, which is kind of interesting. But they could have used a better cover. I didn't like it.
Also, like the fact that she's such a sex-starved individual, she's like with Dr. Manhattan, that she like
Even the H-bomb needs to get laid, right? That's a line from the comic.
It's so crazy, man. But she has someone who can literally like bang her like with like 3 people at a time, and she just like gets.
Yeah, she's like having a threesome with the guy that she wants, and then she was like, "No, I don't want this."
Well, I get why she was turned off by that moment. It was a little kind of
Yeah,
He was in the fucking other room working on a bomb. Yeah.
right, but like but like prior to that, he's like electroshocking her head and stimulating her.
She says, when I lick your fingers, they taste like batteries. I'm like, how is that sexy?
Yeah,
like,
that's
that
gross.
sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
Like,
She seemed into it until she realized there was 2 of them there.
She also
Batteries?
like fucking Dr.
Batteries?
Manhattan. He's like, for you're fucking the equivalent of somebody with like no personality. He's like a, you know what I mean? Like he's just soulless. Anyways, like he's not even doing it for pleasure. He's doing it for her pleasure. You know what I mean? He's
I guess.
Yeah. Anyways.
Well,
I guess we're gonna
there. He's like hung in the movie. Is that true in the comics?
Oh
they
yeah,
show his
he's
dick,
hanging dong.
Yeah.
his dick is like,
Yeah, when his first time on screen, Parth was like, "God damn!" Like, what the fuck?
Funniest
Yeah, he's
moment
packing.
is when they walk into that first scene when he's like in his like lab or whatever, and there's like an up cross shot of
Yeah.
why did he choose to do that? And like he turns around like so you could focus on like his buttocks. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on, Zack Snyder? Like, what are you
But then they put underpants on him for fucking Vietnam.
doing? Right.
Yeah.
So you want to get into your favorite scenes there, Julie?
I have like we've all talked very kindly about the opening credit scene. There's nothing more needs to be said there. I think that's a brilliant makeup of setting the universe for the viewer. So like I think that was really well done. I love that whole opening credit sequence. I understand your point about like the Mars stuff from the comic book is a lot more colorful and maybe is not like the color palette isn't translated for the movie, but I did like that what they did with putting him on Mars and him building his whole watch figure out of glass or whatever that is. That was brilliant.
In the comic, it's 10 times better, Julie. That scene, it's
Yeah,
one of the best.
It's
one of the. I know.
your mind will be
it's not
blown
fair.
when you read that issue.
It is a good
It's
scene in the
crazy.
movie, though. But that's why it's a good scene because that's
Yeah.
the best scenes. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up. Not to say like your opinion doesn't matter.
But it does inspire me to actually, get into the actual material it comes from. So that's good. I not that particular scene in which we all talked about where the violence was a little bit gratuitous, but like Rorschach getting arrested and then ending up in jail. The whole jail sequence is awesome.
The mess hall fight is excellent. I agree. That's the best scene.
Best.
Yeah, I agree. I do like that scene a lot. Yes.
I do like, although I had some issues with continuity errors, which is so small and nitpicky, but like when Night Owl and Silk Spectre go to save the people from the burning building,
oh yeah, okay.
and like he kind of has his moment, like he's like staring at his fucking suit and he just like has this switch flip where he wants to go do shit again. I like that. I like the riot scene, which when Night Owl and Comedian show up to break up the protest, because you really get to. We already know that the Comedian's a piece of shit long before this, but just like you really get a sense for his brutality and like the sort of like, I guess, dichotomy of like.
No, I agree. That
like their pairing is odd because, like you're saying, like Dan is this very milquetoast guy, very pacifist kind of dude, and they've paired him up with this guy who's fucking brutal and he's such a piece of shit. And he's like, "Man, what happened to us?" And I was like, "What do you mean what happened to us? He's been a dick the entire time."
I think that whole segment of scenes with him, like to your point, are all good. With the attempted rape, him shooting his child and the woman in Nam, essentially, and the like killing her.
Any scene the Comedian's in is great. Like,
especially though, the best one is the riot scene. I agree with you. Like, it's the smoke bomb. Essentially, he launches it at that guy at the end, and. Yeah, with that whole "what happened to us?"
Yeah,
that whole fucking scene. Yeah, that was
the American dream. You're looking at it. Yeah, that whole bit. Right. All of the Comedians' backstory setup, they're so good. I do think that this is kind of a separate point, but I was trying to think of like of the entire team. It's hard for me to pick a favorite, like, because the comedian, he has like the greatest setup and scenes, it feels like, in the movie, but he's such a piece of shit. Rorschach, he's a brilliant character, like the way they've done him for the movie, very interesting, very like you're really drawn to him and like his backstory, but they don't give a lot of, like, they do kind of set you up for like why he's kind of fucked up, but I feel like there could have been more to him. He's also just like really, he's really dark.
Yeah, he's psychotic. He is.
Yeah. So,
but he's also weirdly the most morally like
compromised.
Yeah, he's the only one that's willing to take a stand at the end.
Yeah.
Which is
his redemption arc from like, wow, you're fucking crazy, but then he was like, never compromise even in the face of Armageddon, whatever. That bit, you're like, okay, this is
where Night Owl is the type that is a coward in that sense.
Yeah.
Willing to accept it.
But they understand. But I see that's the thing. It was like, this is why this is kind of like the deconstruction or whatever part comes in, because this is a story where essentially the villain wins in the end, because they understand the greater stakes that are played.
It's for the greater good, though.
No, but they come to that realization, and it's like actual Rorschach who isn't able to sort of
live with it,
see past that. And I don't know if I would call that cowardice or courage.
No, I didn't call him cowardice.
No, you said Night Owl was coward for accepting that, and I don't necessarily agree with that, because
in comparison, in the sense that you're right, like I would probably accept it too, because the way he laid it all out, it made perfect sense at the end. But I would say that there's some people that wouldn't be able to live with that, and I think that's
like Rorschach. He doesn't. He's no. It's black and white, and there's no in between, right? Like that's sort of like.
But that's what makes it such a layered, great ending to the book as well. Is
absolutely?
It's like every character has a fatal flaw. Like
100%.
Well, so it's hard to pick a favorite. That's what I was thinking about earlier.
That's the thing too. They all have their moments where they basically are like, why am I doing this? Because humanity has turned their backs on us, and I hate humanity. Like that's the whole thing with Dr. Manhattan going to space or Mars. He's like, I have had enough of you people. Like, you mean nothing to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like all your petty little, like, you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't mean anything. The way I literally control and see time and space. Like, you think I give a shit about any of this stuff? Like, it's true. That's why he's such a great layered character, though.
I think that the one that they give the most favorable outlook on, as far as the film was done, is Silk Spectre. But like you were saying, she's
really, that's how you
falls. Well, but she falls completely flat compared to the material.
I don't think she's layered at all. Like, I mean,
no, I'm not saying she's. Oh, you mean like in the
film? Yeah, but I mean, I guess
no, I don't think she is. I'm saying that I think she's, the way that they've done the movie, she's painted in the most favorable light of the team.
I see.
Absolutely.
I see. Yeah, no, that is true.
But they haven't really given her a huge fatal flaw, but she also is just like, meh, like she's not really, it's kind of shallow as a character. Like
she's very like one note, yeah, for sure. But I think also like she's the only person that actually dealt with some sort of tragedy that was able to, from her mother's, like from what happened to her. And that's the child of that whole thing.
But she finds out so much later in the movie. It's like you don't even get that plot point until later.
To have some sort of acceptance and like and redeeming moment with her mother at the end of the film.
Right.
Characters don't really get that, right? Like the rest
Dan does too, I guess, through his relationship.
In a way,
with her.
Her, but again, he's living with the fact that his best friend out of the team, Rorschach, got killed in light of not accepting what had happened. He was very angered by the end of that towards Ozymandias, but Ozymandias was like, I'm right. Like, you know what I mean? Like what I did was warranted. And if we don't have peace, that means we have war. And therefore it's for the greater good. What had to happen, people had to die. Right. And it makes sense. Like it is. That's the worst part about it, is you had to go through that to learn, and then they had to lie to the entire American public, which is
the entire world.
Right. The entire
planet. Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think I got through all my favorite scenes. My favorite lines, I've even touched on a few of them.
What Okay. You touched on a lot of my favorite scenes too, actually. All the comedian stuff, the Rorschach going to jail, and then the mess hall fight. I thought that the intro, I think the sex scene is funny. I like that scene too. To add a quote to that scene where he's like, "Oh, I didn't think it was necessary to what? To know which one of you is giving me a pity fuck? Don't worry, John. She'll be back."
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "No, she won't.
No, she won't.
I'm able to see everything." Yeah.
Yeah.
And to add some quotes, the Dr. Manhattan's interview, where he goes to Mars after. Again, I think that's more so because of how good it was in the book. And his quote where he's like, there's that famous scene of him sitting on Mars where it's like, I prefer the stillness here. I am tired of Earth, these people. I am tired of being caught in the tangle of their lives. Yeah. Excellent. And it literally, like in the actual illustration, you literally just...
He's cross-legged.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic scenes from the comic. The Rorschach, when he goes to jail, of course, the famous "None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're me," of course. And then I really, really liked, and I forgot about this scene, Rorschach, when he speaks to Night Owl and he basically thanks him for being such a good friend in that one scene. Is the only moment where he kind of like lets down the act, kind of like of this, like, you know, like grizzly, like kind of like crazy dude. He's kind of like he basically just turns to him and he basically says, like, I know, like, I'm difficult to deal with or whatever sometimes. Thank you for being a good friend or whatever. Because he starts to like talk shit about Silk Spectre. He's like, oh, you're soft now, like the way even you look at women or whatever like that. And so I really liked that scene revisiting the movie this time around. So that's about it. I think those are my favorite scenes. Max, anything?
Like I said, like it's kind of hard for me to have favorite scenes just because like every scene that I compare to, I much prefer in the original material in the comic book. And I do have the opinion. I do share the opinion that I do think this movie, that book is like unfilmable. Personally, I think so, just because of the way it exists in the comic book form. Like, I don't think any filmmaker probably would have done this movie justice, but like for example, like the way they explain when Dr. Manhattan goes to Mars and stuff, the way they explain his perception of time in the comic book,
weren't able to capture in the film.
Not at all. And it is so effing good in the book. And then like even like the story of how Rorschach talks about like how he became who he was. And you know, it's so funny, Nico, you said how like you wish they gave more like time and stuff to like the Minutemen and stuff like that. I don't mind that so much.
There's not enough time given in the comic either.
That's why I don't mind it so much.
But I felt like you had a better understanding of who they were. In the movie, I don't think they did a good job.
You know, I don't mind that aspect so much because I feel like the most important thing that they showed was Sally getting raped, which I think was the most important takeaway from that era. And then like Hollis Mason wrote a book about it or whatever.
Yeah.
But the part of the movie that I don't like is how the auxiliary characters, like the newsstand owner and that therapist that interviews Rorschach, how much detail they're given in the movie. In the book. Like these are real characters, and the movie I feel like glosses over them a lot. And the reason why it's so good that attention is given to them is because you feel something when they die in the end, when all these characters die in the book, like because you've like gotten to know them throughout the civilians, right? The civilian characters of the story. When they die, it's like, whoa, that's like a huge weight. Like these are real people. The movie doesn't really do that so well because it's like even like that therapist that is interviewing Rorschach, he's given so much time and to like ponder over things and stuff. But in the movie, it's kind of like he just walks out of the office like, well, I can't help this guy, right? And it's just like, they just cut it in half. They cut the whole thing out, and it's just like, I don't like that. Like, I don't like that they don't give. And I get it's
tough
the
because the book has a lot more exactly.
It's the convenience of time. You don't have enough time. Yeah, I get it. And
it's hard.
That's the number one issue with adapting.
That's literally the first thing I said at the start of this conversation was like, I think it's not fair to him to say that he dropped the ball on this because this would have to have been like a 7-hour film. I don't think anybody could have done.
Yeah, it probably should have been a 12-episode series, like as the 12-issue thing. But even then, I don't think. Like, how would you convey the Dr. Manhattan stuff in a movie? I think that only works in a comic book. There are certain things
that were better in a comic book.
Yes, and so it's hard for me to But I a lot of the stuff you guys said I do like too. Like I like the opening intro. I think that is a
It
very
has some good scenes in it.
very
It has some
interesting.
good
I thought
scenes.
thought like the lesbian superhero thing, and then they get killed. I thought that was really cool. Like really like that like really struck a nerve
Poignant.
with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when that hippie girl gives that dude the firing
It was
squad
supposed to be at that university protest. I forget what it was.
university protest. She gives him the flower, and it's like describing the time, the sort of like anti-communist, anti-protest sort of time.
It was the shooting of the protest students at Kent State University in 1970.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah. So that makes that makes sense. Yeah, 100% truly. Every scene that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is as the comedian, he kills it. He's my favorite part of this movie. He kills it. And even there's certain shots, like I do love that scene when he gets thrown out of the window. It's perfect. Like it is a great Zack Snyder shot. Like there are certain like shots of beauty that I like a lot. Rorschach, of course, a lot of scenes with him I really like. But yeah, favorite scenes. Yeah, that about does it.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the Antarctic parts, to be honest with you. I didn't like that part at all.
Well, you didn't like
I didn't like that at all.
Sorry. Okay.
I think yeah, like of the like to break it into segments, that is my least favorite.
Yeah.
Which is like
part of the movie.
The ending of the book. It's terrible. Like it's the whole point of the film, right? Like I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So quotes. Do you have any quotes left, Julie? Or I have some.
I have one quote.
Yeah.
I when I didn't write it down, so if I fuck it up, correct me. But when the government people are like interviewing Lori and she smashes one of the dude's head against the table and she's like, "That's the closest you'll ever get to calling me a whore, Mr. Forbes," or whatever. I love that line. Yeah. That's good. Oh, it might be in the director's cut.
I think it's in the director's cut. I don't even know that part.
It was a sick scene. Oh, and you know what? Actually, another scene I like, not a quote, but a scene I like. My favorite use of slow motion in this movie is when they're rescuing those people out of the fire, and then the thing blows up, and you got like Silk Spectre,
and her hair is flipping around.
That is very sexy scene. Yeah, I like that one.
There's weird continuity things that I noticed in this watch that are they're stunt related. That like she's clearly had been operating her fucking hero persona in these like knee-high stiletto boots the entire time, and it switches between 3 different pairs of boots in that scene alone. Like when she jumps out of the fucking jumps out of Archimedes, she's wearing non-heeled boots, and then when she's fighting, she's wearing like wider heel boots, and then she's got the stilettos when they're doing like these aesthetic scenes with her.
I'm just curious why he decided not to make her a smoker. I just found that very interesting because, like, in the book, she's like chain smoking cigarettes, and in the movie, she doesn't light up once. So I was just like, I don't know. It just seems weird why they take that out. Like,
does anybody smoke? Only
cigars, right?
That's comedian like smokes, and what's his name? Moloch smokes.
Yeah, and then in the book, not sure if they do it in the movie, but in the book, that black kid that's reading the Tales of the Black Freighter, he's smoking as he's reading the book. So, and they have these really interesting cigarettes in the book. It's like a cigarette, but then there's like a ball pipe, like it's like, I don't know, it looks weird. I've never seen a cigarette. It looks like almost like kind of like a crack pipe, honestly, but it's like I don't know. It's really weird, the cigarettes in the story.
Yeah, here there's a.
If you want to show them.
I don't know if you guys can see that. There you
go. Oh yeah.
She's like she puts the tobacco in the ball and she smokes it. Like
yeah.
Huh. Weird. Yeah, I just looks like a pipe, I guess. I think I think of my favorite lines, like most of them are Rorschach's, because they've given him this really neo-noir kind of character. So he's got all these like really funny lines, the way that his like mannerisms and his dialogue is, they're funny. Like they're good.
So Maureen Gibbons, they said in an interview when somebody asked about this, that it's not important or meant to represent a crack pipe or anything. It's just another prop meant to make the Watchmen universe look alien.
Ah.
Oh yeah! Wow, that's cool. Huh. I like that.
So
like cars in this. Did they show that in the movie? I couldn't tell.
Which?
like all the cars in the Watchmen universe are like electric now because like Dr. Manhattan can like produce lithium batteries at ease.
I didn't notice. I don't think so.
Well, like if you read the book, that's the case. But then
Yeah.
I watched the movie and I'm like, I didn't notice any of like the cars were like futuristic or anything like that. Like,
No, it didn't stick out to me, so I guess they must have not really gone into it at all.
yeah.
I think Rorschach's telling of the joke that he heard about Pagliacci the clown is among my favorite lines. And yeah, his "I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me." That's a banger.
Yeah.
I also like his bit around that jail cell sequence, like his whole interaction back and forth with that. What's his character? The guy from Seinfeld, the little guy.
Oh,
But
yeah,
from
basically
Seinfeld.
the guy who runs the bad guy in the prison. Yeah.
yeah, he's like. But
Oh,
his name is really ironic. It's like Big Boss or something.
Yeah.
Big figure,
Little figure, big figure. Yeah, it's big figure, I guess.
something like that.
His whole back and forth with them during that scene where they're trying to break the lock, I find to be really funny. Never compromise, even in the face of Armageddon.
Oh, that's a great line.
The comedian's line after he shoots the pregnant Vietnamese woman, and Dr. Manhattan was like, she was pregnant and you gunned her down, and he said, "That's right, and you know what? You watched me do it. You could have turned the gun into steam, the bullets into mercury, the bottle into goddamn snowflakes, but you didn't. You don't really give a damn about human beings. You're drifting out of touch, Doc."
Which was the best way to illustrate that early on, that was like the path he was on at that
Yeah,
point.
he could have done anything.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know if this is ripped directly from the comic. That bit about, huh?
A lot of the quotes are like,
Yeah, like the one where he's talking about turning air into gold, and that whole miracle bit
I don't know.
where they like
Yeah.
melt their memories, and they both find out together the comedian was her father.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Will you smile if I admit I was wrong?" And then he does this whole bit about
Right.
the line itself is cool, but the way that it's done by him or something, I was like, this is cheesy as fuck. He's just down bad right now.
Even the way Lori finds out that the comedian is her father is so much better in the book. Like I feel like they really spoon feed a lot of shit to you in this movie that like in the comic book it doesn't. It's more like mature. It's more like it's just a better way.
In the hands of maybe a better filmmaker, it would have been better, right?
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think it has anything to. I just think it's the medium. It's the medium.
Yeah.
It's the transfer.
Well, there you go. Like it's Any other quotes?
Not really. I think that was mostly it.
I got a couple. I got some of
We
the
covered most of them.
Rorschach journal stuff where he's like, he's doing a rundown of the whole team at the start where he's like, the first Night Owl runs an auto repair shop. The first Silk Spectre is a bloated, aging whore dying in a California rest resort.
That's so harsh.
Dollar Bill got his cape stuck on a revolving door where he got gunned down. Silhouette murdered, a victim of her own indecent lifestyle. Mothman is in an asylum in Maine. Even Adrian Veidt, possible homosexual, must investigate.
Was that in the movie?
Yeah, must investigate further.
Must investigate.
I love how he ends on that. He's like, "I'm gonna investigate that some further to see if he's actually gay."
homosexual. Holy shit, that's hilarious.
And then there's the whole part where they're talking about old times, Silk Spectre and Night Owl, where he's talking about that guy who was like, punish me. He's like, "Oh, whatever happened to him?" He's like, "Well, he pulled that on Rorschach, and Rorschach dropped him down an elevator shaft," and they all just start laughing. And if any of this is from the director's cut you don't recognize, let me know.
Yeah.
There's the whole comedian line where society's only protection from what? You kidding me? From he shoots the smoke bomb. He's like, "What the hell happened to us?" Between him and Night Owl, what happened to the American dream? It came true. You're looking at it, right? It's a joke. It's all a fucking joke, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan, it's too late. It always has been, always will be too late.
Director's cut.
Yeah. Okay. This is when they're trying to capture the time sequence type shit from
Okay.
essentially like the way he looks at it, and the watch. The watch is a whole big part about his character too that they kind of talk about. But
Yeah.
Rorschach, when he's like, "Excuse me, I have to use the men's room," when they help him break out of prison, and he goes,
Pretty
"Kill that
scene.
guy." Yeah. And one of my favorite Dr. Manhattan lines at the end there, he's like, "I can change almost anything, but I cannot change human nature."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I got for quotes.
My only other one was at the end, even though I don't like that scene, when Ozymandias says to Night Owl that the world is united in peace and there had to be sacrifice, and he says, "No, you haven't idealized mankind. You've deformed it. You've mutilated it. That's your legacy. That's the real practical joke."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, what's one more death at the end? And he gets Dr. Manhattan to kill him, right? Afterwards. Yeah, that's tragic. I almost felt like at the end of this, like there was a moment there, because it kind of comes after this reveal, that I'm like, did they not kill him in the movie? Like, I forgot. Like, that, and then I was like, no, because he dies in the comic, right? And then I was just like, oh, yeah, they did. And then when he fucking just like blows him up.
They turned him into a fucking Rorschach on the ground.
So.
Yeah. That covers it, I think, for Lions that I had.
I didn't have any questions because everything is answered.
Yeah,
in the
I have
comic.
a question.
I have two, but go ahead.
So weird. Did they use Carla Gugino for the role of Rorschach's mom as well? As like when you know how
I
her
didn't notice
mom,
that.
it looked like the same actress, and I was like, "What the hell? Why is she playing Rorschach's mom as well?" I'm like, because she's already Silk Spectre's
I didn't
mom.
catch
Like,
that.
she's already Laurie's mom, so it's.
I can check.
And I was just like, "What? Why did he do that?"
Yeah, I didn't.
Is he trying to imply that?
Are we maybe mixing up the two scenes, because they do have like a similar hallway scene?
They have a scene when Rorschach, when he's a kid, he walks in on his mom having sex, and then that woman, it looks like it's Carla Gugino. How do you say her last name?
I think it's Gugino.
Gugino. Sorry if I'm butchering.
Italian. I don't know. I'm guessing. What the fuck is her name?
Look up like Walter Kovacs, Rorschach mom, I guess. Watchmen.
Kovacs.
Walter Kovacs.
No, it's additional.
I didn't look up I probably should have just looked it up, because that's like a question you can look up. Sylvia Kovacs.
Sylvia. No, it's giving me It's giving me like the names of crew, and that's not what I want.
It's not her.
It's not her?
No.
Okay, it looked kind of like her, so I was like...
Yeah, I mean, here, this is the woman here.
There's like 3 different callbacks. Oh yeah. There's 3 different callbacks to like Laurie's mom in that hallway sequence, though, and I'm like, maybe we're just mixing up the scene.
Okay, but that actress does kind of look like her, doesn't she?
Kinda.
Same hairstyle and stuff. Right?
Sorta, yeah. But I think again, like a lot of women had that hairstyle of that period, right? So I hear what you're saying, but that's not her.
I was like, yo, is that her?
Yeah, Rorschach's mother.
Yeah.
We kind of already touched on both my questions, but I'm gonna pitch them again. We did sort of touch on them and answer them, but because you guys have this vision and this experience from the comic books, do you think that another director could have done right by this?
I personally don't think so.
And you said so.
If you bring back Stanley Kubrick from the dead,
I have two differing opinions on this. One, I think somebody could do a better job than Zack Snyder did.
Okay.
2, not as good as the comic.
Absolutely not.
I do think there could be a better serviceable job than what was done in this film.
Yeah.
Closer to the source, a better representation of the source material, but not as good as the source material. You know what's
crazy?
Do you have a director in mind that you think has a better vision?
Christopher Nolan. I would watch that because it has to do with time. The Dr. Manhattan scene would be the best fucking moment.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Right?
All right.
He would be able to do it as well, but
he's basically doing a just as ambitious film right now called The Odyssey. That's going to be coming out next. A just as ambitious film. the
Oh.
Odyssey that's coming out next summer.
That's been adapted before, though.
My other
Story is
Yeah.
another big story.
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
my other question was, do you think they could have done better by the source material if they had done a limited series to give
Yeah.
it more time? Yeah.
What's crazy
Yes.
though, they're making like, I don't know if they finished doing it, but they're making like animated adaptations of Watchmen, like Watchmen Chapter 1 or
Yes.
Watchmen Chapter
Yep.
2. And I've seen snippets of it. It looks horrible.
it's the DC movies that
They
do,
make
yeah.
good movies, the DC animated
Animated
films, but
films.
that shit looks awful. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Watchmen, I think, is just a material you just have to read. Like, there's no other way around it. Just read the book. It's almost
Yeah.
like Ocarina of Time, Zelda. Like, no movie, like, it's not
you
gonna do
know,
justice if you make a movie about
it
it.
exists in the
format that
world
it's
of
existed
it's
in,
one of
yeah.
those things that there's many purists and defenders of the original.
I'm
source
like,
material of this.
as far
Absolutely.
as like Watchmen goes, I am a purist. Like the book.
I will say this
100%.
though, and like you said, you've already kind of disregarded the other spin-offs and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
Here's
hate
the
them.
thing. I like the other spin-offs of the comics that they've done. Are they better than Watchmen? No. And here's the thing. Even when there's other versions of the source material where people will attempt to do things, I'm not as mad at it in the sense that that thing will always exist at the end of the day. I don't mind people
Yeah.
attempting to do that, but you got to understand, in many people's eyes, is never going to be better than that. So sometimes why even bother?
But it's
right?
also like a
right. So I
classic-
get it.
It's kind of like a
but-
classic example of like corporations just like
Yeah, it's a money grab.
dicking down a creator like they always do. Take their shit
This
from
is Alan
them.
Moore's whole perception of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this is what they've done to.
yeah.
Essentially, they've done this to every superhero.
Yeah.
Like they've all been jacked from the original creators.
Yeah.
All been like sort of bastardized and sort of ran into the ground. I don't mind it. I guess I am a little bit of a hypocrite because I don't mind it when it's been doing to Superman. But truth be told, they did the same thing to the guys that invented Superman. So
Yeah.
it is.
They
what
died
it is.
penniless and broke.
Yeah, it's tragic. And then meanwhile, this is a $1 billion character. He's gonna gross like billions of dollars throughout the lifetime of that character. So it's just it is what it is. I
That's
guess.
why Alan Moore's like, remove my name from the majority
take
of my
that shit. It has
comics.
nothing
Take
to
my
do with
name
it.
off of them. I don't want to be known
And
as
Watchmen, the book, Watchmen, Julie, I'm serious. This is like one of the greatest works of art, not just comic book, just greatest works of art I've ever experienced in my life.
Stay
So
tuned, guys. We will do a movie.
You're
we
in
will
for a
do
treat
We will
when you
do a
eventually
episode when we talk about the comic.
You're in for a treat when you eventually do decide to sit down and read it, maybe hopefully more than once, and just I can't wait for that.
Does anybody have a legacy?
The comic book.
Legacy,
I know we sound like a broken record at this point,
That's
especially,
okay.
especially Max, but the legacy is
I
the
feel like-
comic.
I feel like my
Unfortunately,
point has just been.
I think it's no, but I mean it's a strong point to make.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
how you
yeah.
feel, right? I get it, but I think the legacy, as I mentioned, is that this movie hopefully gets the comic book into your hands if you've never read it.
Yeah.
For many people, that's one of the only comics that they've ever read because it's regarded as like one of those type of books.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's like one of those books that
That's
you can
an
give
entry
someone.
into the medium.
It's like it definitely, but it's also one of those books you can give to people who don't even like comic books, and I think they'll they'll get something out of it. I will say this out of Legacy, it's so interesting because when this book came out, it was like the original like response to like superhero fatigue. Like when it came out, like it was like
It's when comics changed.
it was well, at least from Alan Moore's perspective of like these characters and these concepts, they're outdated, right? And and I think that's like the biggest point the comedian makes is like when the nukes start flying, nobody cares about stopping like purse snatchers and shit. This is all like irrelevant now, right? And sort of I think that's sort of like the main crux of the story. And so like this story is talking about a time when like in Alan Moore's opinion, superheroes became like an outdated concept. But it's so funny though is I feel like the release of this movie is a little bit premature because the comic book sort of boom and fatigue didn't happen with movies yet. It had just started around the time this movie came out. I feel like this movie came out maybe 10 years too early than it was supposed to. Like had it came out later on when people started getting that sentiment of, okay, there's too many superhero movies, that I think is the time that you release this movie because it's talking about, like
more mature themes.
But it's also like looking at superheroes in a different light and like, like these characters, if you really look at and analyze them, there's like, these people probably are not the most well put together, they're
This is where stuff like The Boys becomes irrelevant
Totally.
material.
I've only read like half the first issue of The Boys. I never actually watched the show. But as people are describing The Boys to me, it sounds exactly like Watchmen to me. Like
everything's like a pastiche of this type of stuff, like that has this kind of anti-superhero kind of look and of the web, and then versus the world and the world's outlook on superheroes and everything. Everything is a version of this. This, like I said, this changed the comics medium.
It is totally 100%.
Between this and Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, it changed the whole comics,
which Zack Snyder also kind of adapted, I guess, with Batman.
Exactly.
He's kind of
so there you go. He's touched on all the dark and edgy touchstones of like grimy and gritty kind of like. I mean, and Sin City is that as well in a sense, but that's more focused on like a neo noir like kind of pulp thing. Yeah, exactly. It's just a little different, right? So
I already kind of I already talked about the point that I wrote down was that the optimist in me is hoping that even though purists will look at this movie and be like, this falls flat as fuck as far as the source material, hopefully it inspires people to go back to the source material and to do right by the original, and like experience the source material the way it was meant to be told, which is to go in and get the book and read the book.
I'm personally super curious how many people who have like read the book and have like experienced it and lived with it and have seen this movie and actually like this movie. I'm curious how many people there are. It almost seems like a lot of people who might really love this movie might not be familiar with the source material.
Probably.
And I felt the same way about another show I will never watch. I will never bother with is the live action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that anime. It's such a brilliant.
I'm aware of it, but I've not.
Have you seen that one, Nico?
I've seen some episodes.
It's one of my all-time favorite animes, and then they made like a live action.
Yeah, I have the Blu-ray. I've yet to watch it all yet.
It's
I've
awesome.
heard great things about it.
Awesome.
But yeah, it has what's his name from
John Cho.
Yeah, John Cho.
Harold and Kumar. I'm just like,
yeah, that's fair.
This is garbage.
You know what though? I will say that just like. When we read V for Vendetta, me and Julie, when we watched the movie, another one of her favorites, also written by Alan Moore. The good thing about that,
Alan Moore.
The good thing about that, the good thing about that is basically that even though Julie read the book after having watched the movie, she still had an appreciation for both by the end of that.
By the way,
right?
I have to say, thank you, Nico, for buying me a copy.
Nico for giving me this copy.
By the way, who failed to read the book that time around?
Yeah, and still hasn't read it to this day. And so it's kind of, Julie, when you're talking about how like you should have taken that, it's so funny. Like your story is making me laugh because you're talking about how you should have taken the book with you on your road trip or whatever. I also went on way to the States and like should have brought that book with me and did it.
Okay. I'm just handing out books to you guys.
But thank you. I do want to read it. And
but here's the thing. But let me finish my point.
Yeah,
Julie still has an appreciation for both after reading the book and having talked about the movie.
True.
So I think that in a way, if she were to read Watchmen, she could still feel that one's superior over the other. But since she already started out with the film having an appreciation for it, I think there is the people in this world that will enjoy both. To your point, Max, about that, they maybe not the other way around, coming from the comic to the thing, to the movie, or just maybe not liking the movie flat out. But since Julie does like the movie, I think the question is, and we'll answer that during our discussion of the book. Will it totally eclipse the movie for Julie? I doubt it. I maybe she'll think it's way better. But she'll never. I don't think she'll dislike the movie.
You know what?
I have a soft spot for filmmaking as an art.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Julie's experience with the movie is the exact same experience I have, but just with the book. Like, we've lived with it for many years now. And
you saw the movie first.
Yeah. Like you saw the movie and you've seen it many times since it's come out. And so same thing with the book. Like I've read it and I've read it many times since I've read it the first time. And so there's like that aspect of like time and age, and you've kind of like grown up with this, and like your perspective on it has changed as you've gotten older. And so
because I think Julie said that the book was better than the film V for Vendetta. Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what was?
But it doesn't make me hate the movie.
Exactly. That's the point I was trying to make. So
yeah.
Okay.
You know what's so funny though is because I didn't read V for Vendetta, and I actually do remember we had that episode, and I actually really did like the movie. much more the
book's better.
Yeah, and I probably will agree, but like I liked it. I liked V for Vendetta the second time I watched it, so I feel like Watchmen in the future I'll make it a point to maybe revisit it. Maybe I won't be so harsh on it, the movie. So
movie pairings, Julie, your favorite category?
I'm gonna sound like a fucking broken record because I think
mentioned all the ones that are on my list, by the way, too. If that's
every single one of these movies I have mentioned as a pairing for some other movie that we've done, just because they're all favorites of mine in some way or another. I think if you want to, get a Zack Snyder purist movie, you would go watch 300. Nice. If you want to see another Alan Moore adaptation, you would go watch V for Vendetta. If you wanted to see what seems to me to have inspired some of the violence in this movie, you would go watch Sin City. If you want to watch like a comic book adaptation that did right, Sin City would be your go-to. If you wanted to watch some kind of alternative superhero movie thematically, you could go with any one of the following. You could watch The Crow. You could watch Hellboy. You could watch Kick-Ass. You could watch Hancock. And then I put Fantastic Four because we mentioned Fantastic Four at the beginning, and I was like, you know what? Actually, not bad. And if you want to go something that's like in the darker, visually darker wash over the whole film, you would watch The Batman.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna mention that.
No mention of The Incredibles, because I think you were very on point actually with that. And
it feels like an evil universe of The Incredibles to me. If you wanted a palate cleanser after this movie, you would watch The Incredibles.
Yeah. Because it's so funny is like the whole like superhero outlaw thing, but I feel like with The Incredibles, it's like it turns around and says, no, superheroes are awesome.
Yeah.
Whereas with Watchmen, it's like, nah, superheroes kind of suck. Like, like the adult kind of kids kind of thing.
It's the inverse.
Yeah. So like I love the first Incredibles.
Oh, it's a great movie. Absolutely. Mine are, I only got a couple and we've talked about them already. Sin City is for me the perfect pairing with this movie because the Rorschach character's ripped right out of Sin City. Honestly, like the way he talks, the journaling is like the inner monologuing that is going on in Sin City whenever someone's talking about their stories. The look of it being another comic, that's two sides of the same the coin essentially in my eyes. But like for movie pairings, I think that's the perfect pairing for this. And then, like Julie said, V for Vendetta for the Alan Moore pairing of it all. I also think it's the only other movie of his that's good. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is fucking awful, and it made. I've
actually never seen that movie.
Oh, I've not seen it.
I've read the first trade for that.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. It's what made what's his name quit acting after that film experience. Sean Connery. Yeah, it's fucking terrible. And then finally, the only one I think that differs is Dredd. I think that the world.
I haven't seen that, but I saw that online. A lot of people compared it.
The world of Judge Dredd is very unforgiving. Let's say, like this world in many ways. Like, so I'll say that that's similar in tone because Dredd is like an anti-hero also, and that's like he follows the law no matter what, right? Like even though he could be wrong in a lot of the situations, so it's very extremist in that sense. And like more to Rorschach's ideals, maybe the right wing kind of like look on things because of the totalitarian government type of like angle of Dredd. So Max.
So Zack Snyder picked Batman v Superman. I feel like that movie is like it's almost very similar to Watchmen as far as like a deconstruction of these characters go, and I think in a way I like it more. I like that the angle it does because of how familiar Superman and Batman are in our culture, and I think it's a very well sort of told story of just shining these characters, the typical superhero, in a new light. I'll go Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Oppenheimer is a good because of the the realities of the nuclear.
I like that.
Good
pick. I think Oppenheimer, the way it ends, I think is like a affirmation to the public, like to the audience, that this is still a threat, even though this story takes place in the 40s. This whole or whatever Oppenheimer story, it's still relevant to today, and we're still living in the world that he's kind of shaped and stuff, for better or worse.
You're helping my Nolan argument.
Yeah.
Honestly, for much worse. Because the nukes, fuck whoever invented those. But Oppenheimer, right?
James Cameron recently called them out.
called who out?
Did you not hear about this?
No.
We'll talk about it later. James Cameron basically called Nolan out for his his interpretation of that film.
That movie's gonna turn 2 years old this month actually turns 2 years old, and I've still kind of struggled with it. Like there are parts of it I think are brilliant, and then there are parts of like
that's fair.
I feel like Nolan didn't go all the way as he should have, but it's a very interesting.
We'll make another Avatar movie.
Yeah,
James Cameron.
I'm very curious to what he said about it.
He's got 4 more coming out. I think the fucking Avatar franchise is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Terrible.
What I personally think, Akira. I think is the Japanese Watchmen, and I've maintained that for a long time. As far as like an alternate take on history, it's also another. It's like the nuclear story, but from the POV of the Japanese who are like affected most by this sort of history, and it's just very brilliant. And in the similar way of this movie. It doesn't really do the source material. It's much better, I think, adapting the source material than this movie is. But even then, it pales in comparison to the manga because there's just so much more story in it and there's just so much more detail in it. But I always felt like people who like Akira the film, like you watch the movie to get the vibe, and then you read the manga to get the real details of the story.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
And in the same way, the movie is not able to even tell the whole story that's in the manga.
It's not. That probably should have been like a 3-part film series or something like that.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
And then finally, just because it inspired one of the characters, I see the inspiration through and through in one of the characters, and that's the character Rorschach. I'll say Taxi Driver. I think like Rorschach's character is totally like
his
Travis
look on
Bickle.
humanity.
The way he's always journaling in his book, and he's I think Travis also did like April something, and he's kind of like, and even there's a panel in the comic book Watchmen where it looks totally like a Taxi Driver as Travis is like walking through the streets of New York late at night, and so it's very, very like I feel like that's a huge inspiration for that character.
Great pick.
So, yeah, those are my picks.
Yep. Julie, any final words on your pick? One of your favorite films of all time?
I just have a fun fact to tell you about it. That might be like speculative by some audience member, but was something that I saw about it that I thought was fun because we know how much I love Batman. Besides that they modeled Ozymandias' suit after the bat nipple suit. But in the beginning, during the opening credits, Night Owl stops a mugging of these 2 people. It is assumed that those 2 people are Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Right.
Because there's comic book covers and Flighter Mouse posters on the wall in the alley. So, like, is that the opera they're supposed to be at, I guess, when they get shot?
It's Zorro is the...
Zorro.
They watched the film, the Zorro film, that's where they got killed. Well, that's when he took... There's different versions of it. There's the whole thing with the movies. I think they were out at the opera or some shit like that. But in the comics, it was that they were going to see. I think originally it was that they were going to watch The Mask of Zorro or something like that, and like a black and white Zorro film. And they basically that's when Bruce was there and he witnessed the murder of his parents in Crime Alley. But knowing Zack Snyder, he could have put some fucking shit like that.
It says. There's Batman comic book covers on the wall in the alley, and there's also a poster with the word Gotham on it in that scene.
I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah. That makes sense.
Can I just say one thing?
This whole thing happens, and then his parents lived, and there was no need for Bruce Wayne to become Batman in the Watchmen universe.
You know what's so interesting? I know these characters were like based on those charlatan comic characters. I'm not too familiar with like the stories, but to me, it always felt like Night Owl was clearly like a Batman thing.
Yeah,
and it's so interesting because I also feel like Rorschach is also like the darker aspects of Batman's character too.
Like Blue Beetle precedes like he came before Batman, so he had the lair, he had that floating kind of.
I feel like there might just be like I don't know. I just felt like there was like an identity of Batman in Rorschach as far as, and it's just interesting that Rorschach and Night Owl are partners, and they're both like
two aspects of Batman.
Yeah, like you're not wrong.
I always kind of looked at that, and I like. Other characters, like I always felt like Comedian was like a darker take on like Captain America, like he's this sort of like dark, like this patriotic guy that'll do anything for his country. But the things he's doing for his country are
Yeah.
extremely questionable, like assassinating the president and shit like that. And
Well, that's the whole thing with comics. All
Yeah.
these things echo throughout, like
time, yeah.
Everything else informs everything that comes after it. Like that's how, like, you know what I mean. So like it's hard not to really see anything and nothing and anything. Like everything comes from somewhere, like inspired by something. Like there's not. That's the thing. That's why something even this is not truly original because he's using characters that were right. Like that's the thing. That's the whole thing. I will say that he's kind of a hypocrite about at some point. So Alan Moore, in his statement about this, is that even he famously is used, like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is him using all the literary characters that
were like available in the what's it called, public domain,
but repurposing them into his own new story. So like he's brilliant in how he's able to rework these ideas and characters and stuff like that. Like it still takes someone really smart to be able to do that. But if you're gonna call somebody out for saying like they have no original ideas and blah 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 whatever else, well, you also are inspired and taking from other things as well.
That's a fair point. And I think he said that it's a personal issue with him. It's not so much like
it's his own hang up.
It's his own hang up, and he's admitted to that. But I do see where he's coming from though, because like you're saying, he's taking comic books and making more comic books, and many filmmakers do that too, which I always curious why that.
See, but where do you draw the line on what and where it's done tastefully and where it's not? We just talked about
this is like a discussion for another time. But I always felt like I don't understand like why filmmakers will always be like, oh, I grabbed from like 50 other movies to make this movie. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Why is Joker a Taxi Driver and fucking
like
comedy? We've talked about this,
I don't get it. But like even the great filmmakers do that. Like Scorsese will be like, oh, I took this from that like 1930, and I'm just like,
that's why I'll always argue that it's how it's done. It's not that it's done, it's how you do it. Like, there's ways that are less offensive than others where you can technically there's homaging something and then just ripping it off.
And I guess we'll save like the thing about the ending for like when we do the comic book, because that'll probably spoil it for Julie.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the ending.
Okay.
No, it's totally different in the comic book. But
I remembered one thing. I forgot about my Ozymandias line that I talked about. That I was like, he has one line that I like, and I didn't mention it. The only part in which I'm like, that's kind of funny, is when Silk Spectre shoots him. He catches the bullet. He falls down the stairs. He stands up. I forget what Night Owl says, but he was like, Dan, grow up, and he pulls the bullet out of his hand. That's such a funny line. Like the way he delivers it is so funny. It's
like, my new world demands like more than your like schoolboy heroics or whatever.
Yes, exactly. That line is so funny to me. But that's it. We're all in agreement. Ozymandias is the fucking worst character in the movie. But yeah, I guess my closing remarks are, even though it was a massive offense to the comic book, thank you both for watching it on behalf of my request for the show.
But you know what? I
have no problem with doing that. That's why, like I said, I tried to be objective as I could, but
I think it makes for good conversation and good episodes to have these differing perspectives.
And now I'm looking forward to the impending conversation about the comic book.
I will say though, I do like that scene. I forgot to mention, I do like that scene when he does take out the guy that's trying to assassinate him, and it's like the slow-mo, and he hits him with that like, what is it, like that pole? Ozymandias, he hits him in the pole and he lands it. I did like that like slow-mo shot. I forgot to mention.
Yeah. I and you know what? I'm so curious as to what JT made of the whole movie. Just to give it 3 stars in a summary, we really missed out on whatever commentary he had.
You want that preview? Very interesting.
It's not.
I watched it in the car. It wasn't bad.
You'll say like, "Oh, it's not for me," but I liked it. Like, I'm just like, what does that even mean?
I watched it in the shower. It was okay.
Oh, you know what I watched? Speaking of that, you know what I watched on the plane?
What?
Happy Gilmore.
Hey, wait, the original, right?
The original.
The new one hasn't come out yet.
Hasn't come out yet. No.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Watchmen, everybody. This is episode 64. Make sure to like and subscribe. And our last pick, if you missed last time, was Man of Steel, which is
a much better film.
Max's pick. These guys fucking put me through hell watching both of these movies.
Oh,
no, I enjoy it. Come on. I was actually a lot kinder on this film than you were here over here. You keep making the same point, but the comic is better.
It's all appreciated.
I know I talk like Schwarzenegger. The comic is bad.
Everybody talks like Schwarzenegger in my head, but the next pick is a much better film.
What
It's Indiana Jones, of course.
It's a pull from the bucket of the movies that everyone is shocked I haven't seen.
So Julie's gonna watch that one. They're gonna be on the next episode there together. It's
Laura's very happy that I'm watching that.
Oh, really?
Laura loves Indiana Jones.
Same, and it's the first one. It's the best one in my opinion. So it's really looking forward to that. So stay tuned for that. That'll be our next episode. Also check out our other shows here on the network, movie related, Late Night Letterbox. If you guys missed that, there's always some great conversation on those shows and interesting tidbits of stuff on there too. That's kind of what we've been watching, what we're looking forward to watch, just general movie conversation. Also our movie trailer reactions. If you guys are interested in checking those out, those are a lot of fun too. And they're kind of shorter clips of us talking about stuff on there too. So you can check those out. Max, anything else you want to say about the comic versus?
Yeah, it's much better. Wait, were you? I'm trying to think in my head. Yeah, I think you were more harsh on Man of Steel than this because I remember
Probably.
that like he hated the tornado scene.
Yeah,
but we didn't get
He was 100% right about that. That's what I mean. I turned around on that so quick and I was like, "You're right. I was mad about that during the movie." Yeah,
but I don't think there's any scene in this movie that offended you as much in this.
This whole movie is an offense with the music.
So then how is this better than Man of Steel?
Because because I like the source material still.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the movie.
No, but
you know what I mean?
but what I like about Watchmen, it reminds me what I like about Watchmen is
right.
It bleeds through in small parts.
You like Superman, right?
I don't love Superman.
Yeah,
He's not my favorite, but I am very much looking forward to James Gunn's film because I love James Gunn's film. So you know what I mean. So there's that. So yeah, this might be my favorite Superman movie. Hopefully that we're about to watch. So, anyways, okay. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode, everybody.
The comic book is better. So
we'll see you guys.
And Man of Steel is better too.
Is that if there's anything you take from this show, everybody read the comic book.
It's that
if I haven't said it.
Nico does not want to watch any more Zack Snyder films. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
You're gonna play the Jimi Hendrix one, or
no,
it'll get muted as fuck.
I'm just gonna go back to My Chemical Romance. Here we go. All right, guys.